because I was looking at the audio or the video last time and it doesn't kick in for a couple seconds. But I think we should be good. Maybe. Hello, internet.
This is Cujo.
Can the internet
Is it the
hear
internet?
us?
That's why we should
Oh,
always
no,
give it
that
like
guy.
always give it like a minute to let it actually kick in and go live.
Well, I guess we got to be somewhat appropriate now that people are watching.
I mean,
Damn
No, what are you
it.
talking about?
Wow.
That's
Like
not a thing.
a little bit, a little bit.
That's not a thing. Why are you betraying me, Sirenscape? Hi, internet. Welcome to Decisions and Jackie.
Oh, I hear
When we-
Sirenscape.
What?
I hear Sirenscape. Okay.
You do? Okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to log into the god.
Nope, I hear it.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
I'm trying to
technical
log into like
problems,
the
obviously.
actual like controls thing, and it's like not.
There was an
working.
update too.
I'm already logged in, Joe. I need to log in. It's already logged in. It's already logged in. Why would I need to log in? It's already logged in. Anyway, when last we left off, our intrepid heroes finally had about a full month of rest, relaxation, recuperation. They gathered some information, other TION words. You guys found out several things going on in the city. And then, because it was the last 20 minutes, and I felt really bad because I didn't want to prolong it, you guys got a massive lore dump from a part of a journal or manuscript that you had found, as well as meeting with the head of the Humanor Observatory. For sanity's sake, I will say that it is just started. Today is like the first day where spring is starting to be felt a little bit. The breeze is a little bit warmer. There's still a little bit of snow on the ground, but it's not full winter anymore. Now it's definitely in that transitional period. And also for sanity's sake, let's say that you guys are all still in the Humanor Observatory, having been lore dumped on by the leader who is totally, where the hell are my notes?
Stella.
Estella?
Amar. Thank you.
Stella the Pallet Elf was very
Yes.
excited to see Arthea.
Yes.
Yeah, and Arthea is basically just like, what the hell are you doing here?
Yes.
But she's going to reconcile that later, along with all of the other things that have happened in apparently 2 months' time.
Lots
a
of things
really-
happening.
It's been a really, really busy couple of months.
Yes.
Show.
And she had a birthday party.
She did have a birthday.
She did.
have a birthday. She's now all of 106 years old. Really getting up there.
It was adorable.
Should the
So-
birthday party have actually consisted of like carnival games and a clown and like
Yep. She would not have questioned it. She'd be like, "Oh, I guess that's what they do."
She's
I mean,
102, not 2.
right, but like it's like dog years, you know? Elf years are like dog years. You got to do the math.
I mean,
Yeah,
It's
like,
I guess
the
that's how they
Elven
do it
Society
there.
finds out that it's actually like 10 years for like an elf, but it's like 1 year for humans, and they're like, "What? What? We thought centuries have gone by."
yeah, Elven time is interesting.
Time is a weird soup.
It is. It really is.
So
Very tasty.
you're
though.
all in the observatory. We'll say that you guys were essentially brought up to the top floor. So you guys have this beautiful view of the sky and some of the mountains, and you can see peeking over the horizon the ominous visage of Gat Shadow. But you're in the upper level of the observatory. You have all met with Estella. She gave this lore dump of everything that she has been seeing through her gigantic telescope and reading the stars above. What do you do? What questions do you ask? Because I can go over the lore again if you guys want.
I'm gonna be real here. I wrote some things
Ah.
down, but it was late, And
I
my
have a
brain
pretty
was
good-
melted.
I have a
Okay.
good rundown.
Which-
this is
of
pretty
it.
but-
I
much
can
but you know
write it
what?
down.
Be a
It-
bad idea.
In character, that kind of fits for Faraday because she's very much like, okay, tell me who to hit and like tell me where to go,
Yeah.
and I'll go do the thing.
Yeah.
There's a reason she wasn't in the library with everyone for that
Yeah.
month. Like she,
That makes sense.
she is very
Yeah, and
action
what we're gonna do-
oriented.
She
So
figures that somebody else will, take notes and let her know
yeah,
what's going on.
exactly.
What she has
Dermot
to do.
took notes, right?
There are
He's like
other
the kid
people.
in class. Arathea took
Yeah.
notes. It's fine. She'll
Oh,
just
yeah.
copy
Dermot
hers.
takes notes.
Yeah, Dermot doesn't take notes. That's stupid to
Dermot
assume.
doesn't take notes.
But Arathea absolutely
like-
took notes, so she'll just copy
Yeah.
off of her homework later.
Dermot.
Faraday
I
is like
forgot.
that annoying person in class that would always be like, "Oh, I missed last session. Could I have your
Session.
notes?"
Yeah, that's Faraday. Faraday doesn't bring a pencil to class.
Alright,
Dermot.
we
Sometimes
agree
I
on,
used to just be
4.
like, "Oh yeah, I missed too," even though I didn't.
See, Dermot at least brings a pencil to class, but he
Maybe.
spends the entire class using that pencil as a drumstick.
Is,
He
Or
doesn't
a
see
is there
that
anyone
spinning.
who draws
He is
on the
part
desk?
goat.
Oh god. As a
Anyone who
snack.
likes to leave a little bit of artwork behind?
Well,
Mhm.
Mako ditched the party, but I suspect that he
Yeah.
would have played that role.
Yeah. Just
I
carving
don't know. Would have
into
been, well,
the
yeah, it would have
desk.
been art. Probably inappropriate. Probably inappropriate and insulting.
I
For
never
sure. Funny.
carved into the desk. I always drew on the desk with pencil and then erased it before I was done.
Ooh, rebel.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, true rebel.
How dare you erase things?
Oh my gosh.
Why is this shit not?
Anyway, let's
Oh,
play D&D.
yes. Back to the thing. So yeah, after this massive lore dump and the 20 minutes of kind of just flat out staring and being like, well shit. I think, is there a telescope in here?
Yes, it is the
Okay.
room with the large
With
telescope.
one that
A
you can
lot of
actually
the
look
other
through?
arcanists, we'll say, have like left you guys to this meeting with Estella, as it is like
She also
kind of world changing. So
she kind of, I think she also mentioned that it wasn't the type of thing one talks about with the underlings around.
yeah,
Like you don't
start
want
a
to tell
panic,
the
that sort of
intern.
thing.
You don't want to
Yeah.
tell the intern who's going to go out to the bar with their friends and probably share it. And the next thing you know, there's going to be the entire town in chaos.
Mhm.
What?
So I think Arathea will start off when she finally kind of comes back to herself and is like sorting through okay, this makes sense. It kind of aligns with some of the really weird shit that we've seen. And I'm not too sure about all of it, and that's going to take some time to really think about later, but and then just turn to Estella and ask you mentioned that there are signs that you've noticed. When did they start? How long has this been going on?
This has been going on for, let's say, close to 2 years.
And you haven't told anyone about this?
They
Seems
were
kind of
minor.
important.
They were minor. The heavens tend to do what they will. And noticing a missing star in the distance, according to my other arcanists, was hardly deemed reportable. But then when clusters of stars started disappearing, then we started to worry a little bit. We didn't know what to make of it.
Well, we should probably tell someone about this then.
I agree. Unfortunately, my standing in this city is not the best. I don't really think anyone would believe me necessarily if I were to confer this information.
Also, potentially not really care. I mean, it's a bunch of stars to a lot of people.
Precisely.
Why? And Dermot starts to ask this question and then pauses for a second, like, is this really an appropriate question? And then he just asks it, why is your standing in the town gone downhill? Are you the girl who cried missing star?
Her eyes narrow.
Arthea kind of reaches out to give Dermot a
Divination magic is difficult to convey, and people think that time is a linear line. Linear line. Time is linear. When in reality, the point that we are at right now is the beginning of a terribly convoluted knot with threads going in all different directions. Any choice can change what happens in the future. And unfortunately, that is a concept that not many people in this city seem to grasp. There are some people who come to the observatory for a desire for guidance. Will they find their true love? Will they ever find their riches? Unfortunately, we can only offer advice, and to some nobles, that advice was not good enough. So as such, we rarely receive any interested parties or new visitors to the observatory.
People expect you to look up into the sky and then solve their problems for them.
Precisely.
Might I ask uh, who it is you've had these negative interactions with in the past?
Keep in mind, these interactions don't happen all the time, but there was one dwarf gentleman, Emery's chainmail.
everyone just looks at each other.
Just a collective.
I don't look at anybody, but I burst out laughing.
I beg you not judge the entire noble class based upon interaction with him,
God, I hope not.
or
So
all of
particularly
dwarves, or other living
humanoids
creatures.
also
Mhm,
possibly.
Yeah. Yes.
He's not a particularly good specimen.
So I gathered.
He's afraid of me.
That's true. She did
Well.
scare the living daylights out of him.
Well, that is a comforting thought. Unfortunately, Emery's still held enough sway to discount any validity our researchers have brought to the populace.
If he hadn't, who would you go to normally? I mean, I can't imagine that. Can't imagine that a lot of people would react well. I mean, to someone telling them that the literal sky is falling, basically.
Truth be told, we aren't quite sure. We wanted to report this to the Tal'Dorei Council, but unfortunately their concerns lie with recovery, with piecing the land back together from the tragedy that was several years ago. And Arcanist Vysoren has been rather preoccupied with that effort. At least that's what they have told me. I haven't.
We do have a way to contact Gilmore. I mean,
We
If he
do have a
responds.
friend supposedly on the council. I'm sure we could at least pass a message to him. Can you put all of your research and findings on paper and we can possibly deliver it to him?
I suppose I could do this. This is Sean Gill, I guess.
Is Sean his
Hello.
first name? I look at the rest of the group.
yeah.
Yes, I was shocked too.
Yeah, I do recall that. Though
I don't know
will
why.
say I went by his shop earlier, and he's apparently been gone for a couple weeks. His assistant didn't really have an idea of where. I had her pass a message too, but we haven't
Mm.
heard from him, and she, so far, as far as I know, hasn't heard from him either.
Maybe we should contact Marin,
Mm,
see if she's heard from her father.
I mean, he has shops everywhere, right?
All the major cities.
So he could just be, I guess, busy off.
But he knows what we're doing. He sent us on this journey. He
I
was
don't know if
supposed to
he
keep in
knew.
contact with the book. I mean, he hasn't even responded to you there.
I don't know if he knew what this journey was when it started.
He knew it was a problem. It should be enough for him to stay in contact.
Either way, it's a good idea.
We should at least start with Merritt. She should know where he is.
As you guys are having this conversation, Estella actually steps away and actually comes back with a small like stack of papers. Actually, with a quick little weave through. So it's a small like manuscript, similar to the partial manuscript that you have, but this one is much more clean, tidy, and not fucking old as shit. She looks between all of you and then places the manuscript in front of Arthea on a small table. This should, I hope, be enough to describe our current state of being.
She's gonna kind of do a quick page through. Not read it, not now. It's rude to read in front of people.
Like Thurston doesn't care. Rhodes as a human is thoroughly insulted by that. Fuck that.
You ain't talking to me. I'm reading my book.
Right?
Like, no, we don't do that. We don't read in front of our guests. We don't read when we are guests in other people's houses. But she
See?
will.
Even
I saw
Sam.
that, Sam.
As soon as I could read as a kid.
Oh no, I definitely did that.
I didn't.
I have
Cadriel is casually just wondering what Arthea has been doing while Cadriel has been sleeping, if she hasn't been reading.
Oh no, she's definitely been reading while Kat's sleeping, among other things. But
You're no longer in the like guest arena. We're all way past that. We're at pure comfort level.
Yeah.
no, it's different with like someone you room with. It's
I've seen
like
Thurston's mom with the rollers in her hair. It's probably like
she probably reads in front of Thurston's family, but not his mom.
I mean, his sister also reads in front of the family, including his mom.
Yeah,
true.
but she is not part of his
Actually,
family.
I like the
She
idea
wants
that
to be with
Leica
her.
and Arthea hang out, which is really just them in the
Mhm.
library, not talking,
Not
just
talking.
reading.
Not even periodically one
Zooming
might
out.
look up.
Yeah.
And it's like that comfort you get where you're not alone, but you also don't have to actually hold a conversation.
That's kind of hanging out.
Mhm.
That's true.
It's wonderful. She's like, yeah, I made friends with Thurston's sister. They've talked like eight words the whole time.
They have an understanding.
And they're best friends.
Yeah,
Besties.
they understand one another. Okay.
I mean, Gracia always also thinks they're best friends, but for very different reasons.
Only for one day she thought that.
You guys are the bad influence party. Like, oh, they're coming over. Time to break out the wine.
It's just because they want stories. The unedited versions.
Of course. So, what do you do?
I am going to take the quasi book and just carefully slide it into my bag for later perusal. Kind of just look to everyone else and then back to Estella, kind of frowning. And just in case it comes up or in case we're asked, this is an unnatural thing. Like, this isn't something that happens normally, right? on a cycle, or I mean, stars go out, they do. But I'm assuming that your concern is because it's some kind of unnatural phenomena or some kind of natural one that's being sped up or exploited or something.
I suppose the best way to demonstrate would be one moment. And she actually steps and she comes upon this globe looking item that's got stands on 4 legs. And like a globe, you can see that it can rotate. It can, but she can also influence it and it can shrink and expand and everything. So she waves her hand and the lights in the room dim, and you can actually see that the window that sort of encases the top of the observatory darkens and dims, almost like natural sort of shades. She says, "All right." She manipulates the globe, and you can see spiraling out from inside the globe is this illusion, and you guys are surrounded by stars,
Holy shit.
clusters of small galaxies and nebula, and it's breathtaking. She, somewhat unmoving, just sort of steps away from the globe and points at a cluster, actually closer to Faraday, like right above her head. Now, this image we had taken was 2 years ago. In this small cluster, we noticed 2 stars disappear from the heavens. Everything else continued as normal. Nothing was impacted, nothing was changed. The fates continued as they will. Then she steps back over to the globe and she manipulates it again. She just turns it slightly. And you can see that the stars continue to move. Everything is in motion for a moment as it sort of catches up to whatever point she was aiming for. And you guys can see all over. Only maybe 3 or 4. Each of you can see at different spots. Says this, and she points at the same cluster, which now positions itself on a like near a far wall, and you can see it is drastically dimmer than it was previously. This was taken 6 months after. This, and she manipulates the globe one more time, except this time it's a little bit further, and you can see everything sort of fast move. It's a little unsettling. You find yourselves a little nauseated a little bit as just a little bit of motion sickness kicking in as everything sort of fast forwards and then stops. And you guys look and you just feel like about 20% of the stars and the clusters that you have seen are gone. This was taken a week ago. Now, we understand that stars do go out, others alight. It's the nature of our plane, but they haven't come back. And the only theory that I can surmise is that something is drastically out of balance.
Have you ever heard anything about something called the underplane?
You're reading Madman's manuscripts, I take it? And she says this as she manipulates the globe, and the image slowly fades from view as the window slowly returns to its former translucency.
Not just that. We've heard of the. We spent some time in Joran Village, and we agreed to run an errand, shall we say, for the Shade Watch. And as we traveled across the terraced fields, we saw many things that I would like to forget. The spirits that come out at night. I don't know, they were speaking celestial, but they were whispering, and I could understand them. And even though they didn't seem to acknowledge anything I said to them, They said beware the underplane. It wasn't until after I heard that we even found out about whatever this manuscript is. And when we got back to Western, that's when we tried looking into it more, but there hasn't been much on it except for the madman's manuscript, as you called it. I don't think he was quite so mad.
Make a persuasion check.
'21.
She looks you up and down and then focuses on your eyes and almost tries to read you. Almost as if she's trying to understand if you're sane, the words you're saying, if you have conviction behind them, and then she I have never in my centuries of study encountered this underplane. I might know. There was another. The manuscript. It was incomplete, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
There was a second one. If I recall correctly, the story of Enrindrike led him to Single.
In the
I
Feywild.
can't. A planar arcanist like him is probably fascinated with all of the planes, the Feywild included. I can't guarantee you would find anything, but I believe I recall that his story led him to the Feywild.
Thank you.
Of course. If
I look at
but-
Faraday and Dermot just to kind of see how they react to that. It's the first clue that we've gotten.
Well, it's a very
My
dangerous
ears-
place.
Perk up a little bit. Like, so much of this stuff is just over my head.
You smell sick.
It's hard to keep track of it all. I don't really understand most of it, but the prospect of needing to go to the Feywild, like, oh, that I understand, that I can wrap my. So I'm still like unclear what the Feywild might have to do with it.
If we were to go to the Feywild, what exactly would we be looking for? The stars are going out here. Is there
Something
something
that
that would
mirrors.
correspond? Yeah.
Something that mirrors here, or
As if our plane is under an imbalance of this magnitude. And she says it with all seriousness, and you kind of, for a moment, are like, just a couple stars, it's good. But like, she like puts some sugar on it a little bit. If it is of this magnitude, then it's only safe to assume, well, unfortunate to assume that the other planes are impacted by this as well.
In the same way.
I feel as though it might reflect the imbalance in a way befitting that particular plane. I apologize. I specialize in heavens and material plane. The elemental plane of water should some. She you can tell she's really struggling on trying to find like an example of something. Should it freeze over? Should the elemental plane of wind slow to a stop? Should the nine hells themselves quell their flames. There are many different signs one can read that could spell the apocalypse.
So
I mean, also,
it's
Herman just
something we would.
looks at
Happen-
everybody and says, "This seems
Mhm.
beyond us. We should really," pointing at the manuscript, "we should get this to Gilmore. If he's able to do something about it, and even if he isn't, I'm sure he would know who could."
no, I agree.
Cujo, can I do I guess, I don't know, intelligence
back.
check to, obviously they want to go to Gilmore first.
Mm-hmm.
But if they're unable to get a hold of Gilmore, and this is somewhat time sensitive, we don't know what the timeline is, so it could be time sensitive, essentially.
Though presumably
Um,
speeding up.
Yes, exactly. So it's like maybe we don't know the rate in which it's speeding up,
Nope.
and so this could be very soon.
First, it needs to do some math.
Yeah, well that.
Math,
Um,
not meth.
yes.
Well, no,
Um,
possibly before the math, but
but he wants to essentially figure out if they're unable to get a hold of Gilmore directly and start
Mhm.
there. What are the odds and what is the timeline in which he could request an official meeting with the council as a nobleman?
Go ahead and
back.
make me go ahead and make me an intelligence check. We'll say factor in your proficiency bonus because you're essentially kind of like drawing off of your noble lineage.
Okay, the dice don't like me this week. 9.
9. Given that the city of Iman, while functional, is still, even multiple years later, struggling to recover from the Chroma Conclave. And given that the scar of the Cinder King is contained, but only by so much, you recall only very rare circumstances when a a noble was able to call on the Council of Tal'Dorei to meet. The last time that it was called was actually from the it was from the Ashari, who actually requested that they meet so that they could position Fire Ashari at the Scar of the Cinder King to keep that enigma under control. And that was essentially maybe a year or two after the Chroma Conclave had fallen. So since then, the Tal'Dorei Council has been splintered, but still obviously committed to putting the nation back together. It's just they haven't done the bulk of the work yet to then like sit, chill, and be like, okay, what's the next step? What are we doing now? So, yeah, that was the last incident that you know of that the council was able to convene.
Really, there's another archmage that we could speak to, or somebody that knows.
planes. I mean, typically when they
I mean,
get
if we
riled
were,
up, let's say, I mean, it can get quite violent. It's happened before.
if we were in Nicodranus, I would suggest that we go straight to the Cobalt Soul with this. They're more
There's
prevalent in Wildmount than here, but
there's a Cobalt Reserve here.
we have access to it.
There is one, and she says this with a lot of weight. He is. There is a tower outside of Westrom that by all accounts, should be avoided, given that the denizen of this tower is one. I believe the populace call them crotchety old men. He is known as Realmseer Eskel Rendaria. He is picky on who he chooses to assist, and what matters require his attention. I have not had any good experiences meeting with this mage. But if you can arrange a meeting and convince him, he might be able to provide some more insight as to what is going on. I couldn't guarantee. I haven't seen him in multiple years. You see, her expression gets a little grave. She recalls the last, as she mentions the last that they had met.
How does one get in touch with him exactly?
Oh.
Well, we know where his tower is, don't we?
I mean, I guess bang. Are you suggesting banging on the door?
I mean,
Ringing the
I'm
doorbell.
sure we could
perhaps.
start with a polite knock.
Perhaps we start with a little bit more finesse. Is there a structure to request a meeting with him?
If there is a structure to request this meeting, I am unfamiliar with its existence.
Do you think
What? Go ahead.
you could send a letter or something, Thurston?
I could. I thought of potentially also trying to send a letter and making a request to the council itself. I don't know how well that would work, but yes, I can send out uh, some feelers, so to speak. But this man, do we? What do you know about him? Does he have any particular interests? It desires, wants a conversation goes a lot easier when you are able to start on a good note.
Um, he is surprisingly self-serving unless his life is in danger. His research into the arcane is kept private. By the way, real talk, I remember seeing, like, hearing and seeing Eskel like come up in campaign one. I almost remembered nothing of his like character. I've read the comic a little bit, so I kind of understand, but just I'm going with my own interpretation. Any people watching, just know that. He proves useful when it is his whim. He's a difficult man to understand. As one day a group of adventurers can approach and steal away into his tower and come away with some sort of, are you serious? Some fucking gnat in here and have a goddamn candle lit. I swear to fucking God. He's very whimsical. The last that I had spoken with him, he had chastised me for my findings 2 years ago.
When all of this started.
Yes.
Well, his opinion might have changed if 20% of the sky went dark.
I don't know how much he pays attention to the heavens above versus his own books and magical artifacts and objects of fancy.
Does he have a particular field of study? I'm sorry.
Yes.
I should have had these notes. I apologize.
You're good. She mentioned that his tower's outside Western.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, it's better to send more feelers than not, even if he slams the door in our face. I'd rather take advantage of the resources we have that are closer. First. If we're making a trip,
Yeah.
our locations are far.
Gotta
He's-
exhaust all options before heading straight to Singorn.
Although to be fair, they probably do have some sort of fairly old record.
Here.
That too.
Singorn, the city, that's how we got here, Dermot and I. They stay in the Feywild or they come here. There's no guarantee that the city is even where it's supposed to be. Right now.
So we could get there and nothing.
They could be in the Feywild right now.
Which is a whole different trip.
Or in another part of Exandria, for that matter.
Theoretically.
How do you find them?
You don't.
You just not.
You don't. We got lucky. We snuck into the city. When we, by all means, should not have been able to. Thanks to Dermot.
I do what I
Had to
can.
give Dermot a really curious look.
And she, Estella returns, having regained her memories. He dabbled in many different schools of magic, but he was his field of study typically was abjuration.
Well, it's a starting point, at least.
He's the self-serving sort. Having something that piques his interest may start the conversation.
I figure you can't be very self-serving if, the world ends.
Depends on whose world.
So Gilmore
Gilmore first.
first, Marin.
Marin first.
Well, yeah, Marin first.
Both, if we
Both.
can.
Yeah. I'll try and summarize. Send a quick message.
Dear Gilmore, world ending. Starting with the stars.
We
Please
could get a
reply.
message to Marin quickly.
Is Faraday's? Is she starting to kind of change a little bit at this point?
Little
Because I'm
bit.
sensing a little bit of a shift.
Little bit. She's kind of fighting it a little, but yeah, a little bit.
Does she still look the same, or are there physical changes that have started to?
I like the idea that at this point there's like a streak of hair that's turning.
Yeah, it's like starting to kind of go like when you see like snow and on the grass, but it's like kind of melted in certain places, but you can see the green. So like it's her hair's starting to turn green, and the blue of her skin's starting to go a little bit more brown, tan brown. It's starting. Very, very slight. It's starting. We'll figure it out. We'll get our message.
There are spells that could do that. I don't have the details of them, but in theory.
Actually, I think I may have something that may help. And she walks across the room to right next to the large telescope, and she actually reaches into a small drawer. She pulls out a very beautiful little bracelet. She approaches and says, "This It's a small trinket, really, but it has worked for others in the field to keep communication. Um, this will enable you to use the sending spell.
Hmm.
It only is only available for 3 messages per day, but this might help. And she holds it out to Arathia.
That does it work across planes, or is that one of the ones that doesn't?
It's just the one that does not.
Okay. Things to keep in mind, just in case.
I was going to say it should, but I'm not going to say because it's a spoiler for
Well, I'm-
campaign
well,
2.
No, I mean, I think it can. I think it can
Ah.
fail.
I apologize. My
It does.
I struck out a bit. It does send message across planes. I am on top of it tonight, you guys. I promise.
Whatever. What? I'm
I
sorry.
wasn't gonna
What's
say anything.
Cujo? What spell is it?
Sending.
Sending.
Okay.
So it is the 25 words or less
Yep.
message spell.
So don't give it to Dermot. Got it.
No,
she
give it to
give it to
Dermot.
her.
Absolutely.
Of all things to duplicate from the show, I want that bit. I want that bit so bad.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
I mean, I think Arathia should take it.
Absolutely.
I mean, I'll hold on to it for now, but we can decide later who should send the message. Perhaps someone who anyone can use this, correct?
Yes, it does not require attunement. It's like I said, it's a small trinket.
We can pass it around, but if we're sending to Marin,
Maybe we should send Gilmore a message since it's easy to ignore the book. It's not so easy to ignore it when somebody is talking in your ear.
should definitely give it to Dermot.
I hold my hand out for it.
I'll pass it over.
All 3 will be
Lord.
wasted in a second.
No, I just think
75 words gone.
he's
To you. You are across the room.
he has a very distinctive voice.
Perhaps we should try both Gilmore and Marin. And to Gilmore, the message should come from someone who can best succinctly describe the problem. And Arathia, my assumption is that would be you. And for Marin, it should perhaps be someone who she has a closer relationship with. And then he just kind of looks at Cat. Like he's not gonna say it.
She kind of
He's
like
gonna look in
reaches
that
back
direction.
and like does this with her hair and kind of blushes a little bit. She's
I
like
was gonna say, is
definitely
she-
blushing a little. Yeah, she's totally blushing. I mean, I guess that I could do that. I mean, sure.
He'd probably recognize your voice better.
I mean, and she's just fidgeting like.
Dermot starts doing this
Mhm.
on one hand.
Like trying to.
And Cadriel just like blushes even more when Dermot starts counting. Like,
Oh.
And his eyes are like rolling like up into his head a little bit. Like
Maybe we
maybe
should
I
go back.
should write it down first.
Yes.
That's probably a good idea.
We should go.
I
Make
think
our
the
plans.
ums and the uhs also might count.
Well,
Yes, we've had
I'll
very many
write it
trainee,
down.
waste their 3 charges of the spell with ums and uhs and ahs and likes.
Anyway, I guess we should go. I'll
Yep.
I'll be waiting outside for you guys. And she just like bolts out, like super embarrassed.
She okay?
I didn't mean to embarrass her. I just thought that it made the most sense. It's
It does
would
make the most sense.
get the oh no.
She'll be fine.
If there's any further assistance I can be, I will continue to monitor the situation here, and I will send a similar message to one of you if there are any developments. I will say, since we did speak of the rate, I would say it's relatively slow-ish, but it's difficult to tell.
Well, if it speeds up, definitely let us know.
Absolutely.
Does
I'm
the
just
rate of change seem exponential or
yeah.
consistent?
It's rather consistent.
Okay. That is a small comfort.
Somewhat reassuring. So I suppose
You
that
all
can
hear
change.
Dermot speak suddenly.
Oh,
Gilmore, this is Dermot O'Ferry. We are in Western and need your help urgently. The heavens are in peril. You can reply to this message.
yes.
That is 24 words.
And then it
That
ends
was
with
perfect.
see, because he's gonna say, "See, I told you I could do it."
It'd be really great when you have to do that in a high pressure situation and you can't write your shit down.
I had time now. Why not use it?
Yeah.
And it ends in, "Are you pooping?"
Are you pooping?
I think it's perfect.
Do I get any response?
Are you wearing the bracelet right now? I thought
Yeah,
Arthea had it.
I gave
I
it to
was
him.
given the
Oh,
bracelet.
okay.
Yep.
Well,
Motherfucker.
Get nothing in response.
Do we know if it's
Thing
gone
yet.
through?
Well, it was activated. I mean, it's a consistently active item. And she like walks up to Dermot, like lifts his wrist and like examines the bracelet. Yes, the runes are still glowing. Although a little bit dimmer since you used a charge, but
Would magic such as anti-scrying or anything like that cause the communication not to go through?
no. It is simply a message to one's mind. It doesn't reveal their location. It's just a method of communication, really.
But it can fail in certain circumstances.
Yeah.
You know,
I
I
believe
mean,
the only times we've ever encountered a delayed message or um, missed communication is typically when unfortunately some of our arcanists venture into I believe the term that's coined is anti-magic,
mm,
but that is the only time that it's ever been truly blocked with zero communication.
well, I guess he
I
could
assume
be.
it's been a minute or two.
Yes, it has.
You guys hear Dermot speak up. Marin, this is Dermot O'Ferry. We are in Western and we need your father's help urgently. We cannot contact him. Please respond to this message.
Within not even a second. Okay, that's weird. Yeah, also have not been able to reach my father. He disappeared suddenly. No idea. His shop, I don't even know how many words I've got, but basically, you hear his shop is left unattended. I'm stuck here in Whitestone.
Gilmore is missing. Marin hasn't heard from him in quite a while.
How long? ha- How long has he been missing? Can you ask her? As I rack my brain for
With
the last time I spoke to him.
with the last use of this item for the day, I say, Marin, I apologize for bothering you this way.
Darn
When
it.
was the last time you heard from your father? Please respond to this message.
This one comes a couple seconds after. It was 3 weeks ago. Oh, God damn it. No, I wanted somebody else to be the bit, not me. We had a huge fight about me possibly moving to Western. He got overprotective. And I stormed out. God damn it. Why am I the bit?
She says they had a fight about 3 weeks ago about her moving to Western.
Okay, well,
He was overprotective and she stormed out and hasn't seen him since.
That was around the last time we saw him.
it's
3
been
weeks?
longer.
Longer.
We saw him in his
I
shop
heard from him.
Yeah.
I heard from him
here
though,
before we left for Jorn
Jorn.
Village.
The last time we heard from him though was about 5-ish weeks ago. Now we heard from him the last message we received was the morning after we got out of the mine. We sent a quick
Longer than-
update that was
that's longer
basically
than
just
5
we're not
weeks.
dead.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Did he
Yes.
respond to that?
He responded to that, but with a brevity that I am not used to seeing from him. Said he was still researching and hadn't come up with anything yet. And then it's been silent since then. No response to any messages, no follow up to that message. And as far as I know, he hasn't been back to the shop either, at least his assistant employee.
Well, let's go collect CAD
Yeah.
and figure out next steps, because as far as I'm concerned, we should go to Whitestone too.
Go up to Whitestone again?
If he's missing and Marin would be the sole person to know where he is at all
Right now, as
times.
far as we know, Marin was the last one to see him.
Yeah.
He's the prime suspect.
Bum bum. It's another place.
Where's this tower? This other realm seer. Where is his tower? Is it outside the city if we're heading to Whitestone, or is it on the other side?
It's on the other side. It's a couple miles outside of the gates. He was delightful enough to want his anonymity, so he chose only a few miles outside of the city gates.
No, I'm assuming probably in a very empty area, so
Of
one
course.
can see this from miles. Okay.
Of course.
Well, I think we have a lot to think on.
Let's go get CAD and we can discuss.
Yeah. Also, I'd like her to maybe check with her temple. She mentioned they said something else odd, surprising, but that they'd been, I don't know, seeing odd behavior or odd people or something along those lines recently. Feels like a lot of odd things popping up.
Okay. Yep. Fairday starts heading out.
Yeah.
Right. As you all start making our way out, Estella actually catches Arthea right before she goes through the door. Just very quickly. I didn't mean to lay this world-ending burden at you and your friends' feet. I simply just felt that given that you've seen these odd signs as well, that you might also have some sort of part to play in what is to come.
It's okay. I think,
Uh,
I mean, I came here because I thought that if anyone would have noticed something larger going on, it would be someone who looks beyond just this planet and the things that we've encountered. They're not contained to just here.
Travel safely, and I don't mean to be a judge of character, but what is happening, Sam?
I had a fly in my face.
Oh no!
It touched
No.
me. Oh!
No.
And I stuck my finger in my glasses. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt the scene.
You're good. You're good.
Aw.
She says, and I don't mean to be judgmental by any means, but your friend Cat has. There's a darkness about her.
There is.
I would. You're aware of it.
I'm aware of where she's come from. And I have a good feeling about where she's going.
Just take care.
We will. And thank you for not
She gives a
looking
slight-
at us like we're crazy.
she gives a slight bow and then says, "At least we're not stuck at home, right?"
Not exactly the trip that I expected, but it's better than staring at the same trees for another 200 years. And she'll give a little bow back and then head downstairs.
She waves you guys off as you leave the observatory. Where do you guys go next? Love that question. All these different paths.
Back to Thurston's.
Back to Thurston's.
Yeah. Back to home base and um,
Adriel's like
there-
waiting outside, like practicing what she's gonna say to Marin. Like,
Oh, she doesn't even know that she's already been contacted.
no,
That's right.
She was not there.
She's planning a whole thing.
You guys start making your way back to Thurston's. Cad still has a little bit of blush, a little bit of a flushed face, but nothing crazy. Just I would guess like a slight anxiety.
Like
But-
me, she doesn't have pills for that.
No.
Aw.
You find yourself approaching the familiar driveway and step through the doors, and Thurston's home is once again open to you.
Is there a place we could talk here? Like all of us.
yeah, we could go to the study in my room.
It's private.
Your
here?
butler won't be listening.
Oh, he'll probably be listening.
He's always
Oh.
listening.
Well, yeah, I guess I've never thought to tell him not before. I guess I could. It's like blows his mind. Like, what? Tell Jules not to be there all the time? I don't understand.
No, Thurston just accepts that
Wait,
he.
I
we're-
can ask for that.
I just like how it's just totally like, oh yeah, he's everywhere I need him to be. That's just how it is. Isn't that how butlers work?
Right?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
When you need them, they just show up. One day they're going to encounter another butler, and Arthea is going to be really confused why 10 minutes to get there. They were just waiting.
Jokes.
What are you, new here?
Just gonna be like, your mom should really pay Jules more.
Joke's on you. Every bookshelf in this house is a secret passage.
Dude, how cool would that be?
If it is,
That would be
if
the
it is,
coolest
they
shit
probably
ever.
found it in this last month. They've been like randomly exploring them at night.
I actually really like the idea that when Thurston was still younger, Jules actually showed that there is like a teeny little like hidden room behind a bookshelf. That'd be like his like little play area when he's like playing hide and seek or whatever. Maybe that's your study. Who knows?
Maybe.
Oh my god, does Thurston have a really cool study where he like pulls out a book and like the shelf opens and there's a secret room? Because that's amazing.
Okay, but that's like the vault on the Addams Family movie. That was always the coolest shit ever.
That is the coolest shit. I don't know if Thurston's the study he's referring to is just like a small room attached to his suite, essentially, with his own like little office area. If he does have a secret room, he's not gonna tell you guys. It's his secret room. And like he still is he knows it's not true, but in his child mind, he's convinced his mom doesn't know where it is. And so it's like in his secret his whole life. So he's not going to tell anyone, even if logically he knows his mom knows exactly where it is.
That's amazing.
I think that's totally fair.
You make your way up the stairs, and you guys actually pass by Jules, who says, "Oh, young master, would you require any food or refreshments?"
I think that we are fine for the moment. We'll actually just be meeting in my study privately for a little bit.
Wonderful. Well, if you require anything, just say the word. He gives a bow and then continues on his way.
I finished your sentence. If you require anything, just think really loudly.
Maybe.
Have you ever tried that? You should try that sometime.
I wonder.
Arthea and
I like that
probably
that's like
Faraday
the
are still
first
trying to
time
get
that
them.
Thurston's been like, huh.
One of these days we're gonna catch him appearing. We're gonna do it.
I almost did, I think.
I know.
I just like real close.
You
You
guys are
should stand in
oddly-
a circle back to back and then call him.
You guys have a strange obsession with the process and procedures of being a butler, but okay.
But where does
Okay.
He
come from?
appears out of nowhere. It's not
He's
natural.
just there. Like we're talking and then he's there. But he wasn't there before and he didn't seem to come from anywhere.
He's nowhere in sight. I
Weird.
bet if you called him, he would come out from the direction he just came from.
Listen, I came from a place that's weird. He is weird.
Oh, he's not that bad.
He is worse
Oh, no,
than
he's
Feywild weird.
Like how Faraday has a scale of weird and like
Yeah.
that's right now at the top of it after
Yeah.
all the crap.
After everything else that she's seen.
No, but the
at the
difference
top.
is Faraday has the I lived in the Feywild for quite a while, but I lived like in a castle kind of weird scale. Dermot has born and raised in a field in the Feywild.
In a field.
He's
This
one
is
of
like
those
a
southern
nice
hicks.
field.
Of
On a scale.
On a
Oh,
scale
it's
of
even
On a
worse
scale of
than
1 to
that.
Feywild, how weird is
a
it?
field in the Feywild.
Dermot
weird is
was born
this
in some,
shit?
like West Virginia Feywild.
Oh,
Jesus.
Ooh.
Oh man.
Listen.
oh, like Mountain West Virginia.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Jeebus.
My entire
That
my entire
makes a
headcanon
lot of
of
dots
Dermot-
connect.
Yeah, my entire Dermot headcanon has just kind of
Like
settled
clicked
into
into
place.
place.
Yeah, and I love it.
My name's Dermot O'Ferry from Appalachia.
I drink moonshine and call my father Pappy.
Except there, it's actually moonshine. Like legit, it comes from
Like
a
comes
moon.
from they capture the
Yeah.
moonlight, literally.
We should get some of that. We go.
Oh,
Oh,
it's delicious. You'd love it.
oh my god. Alright, so we go into
We're going in.
study.
Talking
Go to
about
Thurston's
Feywild
study.
moonshine.
We humor
Uh,
him that Fiona is a viol, but it's actually a banjo.
Oh my god. Then he plays with the bow. Oh my god. Thurston, describe your small study, please.
His study is probably not overly large. To him, it's not very large because his mother's study is essentially like the size of his main bedroom. This is larger than probably like 2 to perhaps 2.5 of the like average rooms that we rent. But to him, it's the smaller study, and he can't wait to, move to the big study one day. Um, but it's
I love
got
Thurston so much. I love him so much.
It's like the size of the room that me and Arathea are sharing, Thurston. It's not small.
Well, I mean, I only have room for my desk and 3 bookcases and 2 chairs in front of me. I can't even have a full meeting in here. Where is everyone going to sit now that we're all in here?
Sit down on the
Thea
floor.
sits on the floor.
Yeah,
Faraday sits on the
find a
desk.
random chair.
They just have like a powwow.
I sit
across.
at Thurston's desk in his chair.
Faraday sits on the desk.
Oh, God.
Oh, can I just move these papers? I have to turn those in.
I know it's 100% not what Faraday would do, but I'm picturing like, oh, I didn't see you
See
there.
the-
Oops, I'm sorry, I made a mess.
Whoops! Pushes him
I
off
did it
like a
again.
cat.
Thurston's moving paperwork around. Like, I'm sorry, this is my economics homework. I have to turn this to my mother.
Yeah, basically.
That's pretty much.
He basically experienced like that feeling when you go on vacation for a week and you leave work and then you get back to work and your inbox and it's just like, oh god. Well, he was
Mhm.
gone for like a month or two.
Yeah.
And so that's what he came home to of just like, oh god.
And
Your
it's
first
just-
thought of it is, how much of this shit can I delete?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How much of it can I set on fire?
Literally in his
Literally.
case. So there's definitely some papers that he's like, oh, let me get these out of the way, and he moves them around. But yeah, it's a relatively simple study with a nice, like, you can tell everything in there, like everything else in the house is of excellent quality, even if this room is not necessarily very ornate. But you can tell that this is a wooden desk that'll probably be there in like 100 years. Somebody's got to inherit this desk. Like, that's how well crafted it is. But it's relatively simple. It's mostly just a place for him to work. And then you don't really think that he spends much personal time in here. It's a little bit more, it's just for work.
Right. So you find yourselves in his study, relative positions around the room. What do you guys talk about?
Dermot tried to contact Gilmore. No response.
Marin hasn't seen him in weeks.
Oh, you contacted Marin then?
I showed Cad my fancy new bracelet. This allows
She
someone
was there.
to cast sending 3 times a day.
She was there for that part.
Well, that's kind of a relief, I suppose.
Well, don't be
Anyway.
too relieved. Whitestone might
How
be
long-
one of our options.
I mean, Gilmore has. Didn't he say he has family or close friends there?
In Whitestone?
Yes.
Yeah, Marin's there. She hasn't seen him for 3 weeks, so. Our options are what? We need to. What do we need to do?
We need to go, I guess, before we leave, when we leave here, stop at that tower. Try.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this Rindarian.
Just in case we can't. Or in case wherever we end up next, it's not convenient to get back here. And then I guess options are
In
Whitestone,
every single direction.
Singorn.
Singorn, if we can find it, if it's there. And I guess Iman, if Thurston can maybe get in touch with someone.
As you say that, he opens a drawer and pulls out like a blank piece of paper and like starts drafting a letter as you guys speak, so he can try to see if there's any way that they can speak to at least someone in the council if we can't find Gilmore.
Well, if Eskel Rondarian won't help us, I mean, Iman is large, isn't it? They're bound to have more mages than the one in Western.
Do we want to go to Amon instead?
Well,
I think if we haven't heard from Gilmore, Marin hasn't heard from Gilmore. I don't know who else he's regularly in contact with, but
We need to find somebody who he would respond to.
unless he
That
can't
would know how to
that'd be
find
his-
him.
I would think that'd be his daughter.
Mm-hmm.
If she has an easy way to get a hold of him, I mean.
She
Well,
has
we have
to.
if not, we can always pass her that bracelet.
Yeah.
I would think if her voice showed up in his head.
He was rather
He's not
protective
gonna-
of her when we were there in the first place. I
Mhm.
couldn't imagine that he would leave her without any. We can contact him on a regular basis. Well, could. I really find it hard to believe that he would leave her without an option to do so. Instantly.
And as far as we know, she was the last person to see him.
Yeah.
So wherever he went there from Whitestone. Maybe someone else has seen him, or
Maybe he spoke with someone else.
he spoke with someone.
He could be
He could have
anywhere.
left something in his house.
Requisitioned or bought. I mean, I know he can craft pretty much anything, but kind of a waste of materials to, I don't know, make yourself a whole bunch of, say, fur clothing if you're going somewhere cold or whatnot.
Maybe we should. Sounds to me like it's settled.
Whitestone?
Yeah.
Start
I
there.
think we should go to this Rindarian guy before we leave town, and maybe see his shop to see if
I think stop.
when the last time one of his employees has seen him.
It's
and
been
then-
weeks. They said he hasn't checked in, at least not in Westron. They sent a message to the other shop to try and get a hold of him, but at least nothing's come through that he's responded yet.
Well, Eskel. And then
Eskel,
Whitestone.
Whitestone. Actually, Cad, have you been out to your temple?
I mean, I've spent some time there recently. Yes.
So, when we were here last, you had mentioned that there was, I don't know if it was a drunk or someone who was crazy had wandered in there, and the priests there were saying that this was becoming more common.
Yes, there was a drunk man that came in and he was, I mean, he was yelling, kind
Rambling.
of rambling and being generally rude like drunks can be. She said it happened a lot at their temple, but I don't know if that was, people not liking the Raven Queen or
People blaming the Raven Queen.
certainly. She's not exactly one of your springy and cheerful deities.
Eyes drift over to Faraday and her
She's
little.
she's not the Dawn Father, but her intentions are good.
Mm.
I mean, I could go and speak to them. I just don't know if they would know anything further.
Pujo, what time is it at this point?
At this point, I'll say it's a little bit past midday. So the sun is still in the sky, but in about maybe an hour or two, it is going to start turning into evening.
We have time.
Maybe finish up today. We can stop by the store again. We can
Leave tomorrow morning.
leave tomorrow morning. If he's a few miles outside the city, it seems like a better idea to head out early. And then if we get nowhere, we can make a U-turn and
Well, we could head out and, we have the horses.
we do.
We could be there and back, if it's only midday, I'm sure there's plenty of light left that we should be able to get there and back today and then leave for Whitestone tomorrow morning.
Yeah, Cad, you and I can go to the temple.
Sure.
The
The
three
other
of us
three?
can head out
Mhm.
to the tower.
Um,
Does
I
anyone
actually
remember
had
that- Mm,
I actually had another idea. If Arthea and Thurston can head to the temple, then I can pay a quick visit to my friend at the university, see if he has any insight on how we might be able to find Gilmore.
Faraday and I can go to the.
who's your friend at the university? I don't think you.
You have
Uh,
a friend at a
Sure.
university?
Yeah, I don't recall you mentioning a friend.
oh yeah, I've been hanging out there a lot.
a friend at school?
That's what it is.
You went to
I
school?
mean, on the
Huh?
one hand, it's not surprising because Dermot makes friends everywhere he goes. Everyone.
His name's Rig. He's a professor of sorts.
Huh.
I doubt he'd be able to tell us where Gilmore is, but he might have some insights on how we can find him.
That'd be helpful. No, ask him. Definitely ask him.
Are the two of you okay going to Rindarian's tower? Or would you prefer me to go with you?
Maybe it's better.
I have a
mage to
feeling
mage
that I would be able to
dresser would be-
drop in on Rig when we got back.
I mean, I think we're okay. Right?
Yeah.
We'll be
I
fine.
think we'll be fine. Why is Cujo's smirk makes me think that we
I
won't
know,
be
I'm
fine
smart-
and that we're going to die.
It's the smirk of a DM who's like, yes, I've done the thing. They have
It's
so
just-
many little breadcrumbs and trying to figure out which trail to follow, and it's like, yay, okay, good. Okay, I did my job.
He's just accidentally hit on him like Vexalia did.
I mean,
One of us.
you
does
really want to
that?
make him awkward.
Better
I
than
mean-
crotchety.
He's kind of a dick anyway. Either way, yeah, I think we'll be fine. It's only a couple miles. We'll ride there, get
Mhm.
back before dark. I'm assuming it's not going to be too hard to find.
Yeah,
Right,
this
and
is
I can
It's a big.
get
She
some
said it's a
supplies
large
as well.
tower.
right.
We
Large
can pick up
tower. I mean,
food.
not exactly inconspicuous.
Okay.
Have we seen what's her name, Iron, since we at any point? Or did she
Ired,
just vanish?
you actually have seen. She positions herself, and she has. We'll say that she's made it known that this is what she's doing. Anytime you guys like venture out, as added security, she's like, 20 feet or so behind you.
That's reassuring.
So to anybody else, they're like, "Wow, that she's really like staring at that." Like,
No.
she's really staring at the Eladrin that's walking through the street. When in actuality, she's like,
You know, every time they're like, you don't have to do that. You
No,
don't.
she
It's
doesn't.
okay.
I'm
It's required
really.
to
Oh,
protect you, though.
I'm actually fine with her doing that.
Kristen
Maybe
thinks it's relatively normal. Aren't you supposed to have a bodyguard when you go out?
maybe
My
we
mom
should
only
send
let
her
me
with
not
you
have
to-
one when I turned like 20.
I love him so much.
I will say it was really difficult to do when you all were going different directions, but I made it work. And you recall that at the end of one of those nights when you all reconvened, that she was like sweaty, her hair was all like messed up. She's like, "Please don't move. Please just stay right here."
It's like herding cats.
Please don't split the party, please.
Squirrels at a rave,
Well,
man.
surprise! We're splitting the
No.
party. So
We can, if she insists on continuing to follow, then
Take
since
her with
Dermot is
you.
going by himself, then she can go with Dermot.
or she can go with you guys. Who are leaving the city.
Yeah, you guys are leaving the city.
We are.
Yeah, I think that'd be a better idea.
I
If
mean,
my vote counted. And
comfortable.
she says this as she's like peeking in the study. I would prefer to stretch my legs outside of the city if at all possible.
See?
Why are you standing out there? You can come into the
I
room.
was watching the entrance.
In my bedroom? What was gonna happen?
Can never
in
be
my
too short. See?
I heard this deep bass
Just
noise
the
in my
wind.
headphones.
Yeah, I don't know why.
I was
that's
like,
a
oh,
thing,
the
but-
beat's dropping.
Yeah,
Is
I
there
thought
a
it was
window in
some.
this
I thought it
room?
was our neighbor. Because he drives down the street in his like Ford 350.
No, Dermot recognizes that sound. It's Rig from across town experimenting with something else.
The thing that they made last time has now exploded again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a better idea, just in case he. I don't know. I mean, Stella seemed to think that he was pretty awful.
Maybe he's just eccentric.
Maybe.
Perhaps.
Can never be too careful.
I'm less worried about him, more about other eyes.
Exactly why Irid should go with you. If you want to. Few miles outside the city.
All right.
So who's going where? So we've got people going to the temple and other people going to Rig.
Yeah, just
Okay.
me going to Rig.
So she going to Rig. Who's going to the temple?
And we're gonna get supplies too, so.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Oh,
and then
can you pick me up more rations? I ate all mine.
And mine, so yes.
Thanks.
I'll get you some
I'll,
extra
fish-
jerky.
I'll fish out some gold.
Arthur,
I'll
do you
get you
need
some
any?
extra jerky.
Do you need any spell components? Not to make this into a shopping montage,
No, hang on
but
one
we're gonna
sec,
be
I'll
out
tell you-
anyway.
I'll tell
Just
you
like,
a
well,
quick-
if you're asking.
Just kidding.
I mean, might as well do
They
it all
technically
now.
still have the cart, right? It's in the stables.
Yeah, we still have
still
that
have our
and all the
cart.
horses.
Yeah, so we should be able to
I think the only thing that I need is piece of iron.
Okay, I think we can do that.
Yeah.
Probably
bad,
might not
blacksmith.
even need to purchase it, honestly. It's not specific. Doesn't need to be anything fancy.
I'm sure blacksmith will have something.
I mean, if you find just like a rusty old whatever on the side of the street, it probably will serve fine. Some spells are very specific. Others are weirdly non-specific.
I love the idea that if you don't get exactly what the spell asks for, if you're like, it's fine, this will be fine, you then have to roll on the wild magic table.
I like that.
I have a list of all the things that have components because 75% of my spells do not.
Damn.
Eh.
Imagine the lazy wizard that shops at like, I don't know, Dollar Tree for their spell components.
Generic. Ew, who
Yeah.
buys
Oh.
generic?
Oh gosh, you think you're getting iron,
And they
but really it's
constantly
like,
just have to roll on the wild magic table.
It's iron plated.
yeah, say your metal's not smelted with the right percentages.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, we will we'll go get
Yeah,
the few things
I
and
think that's it. Yeah, the other stuff is going to be more complicated. I don't want to. If we're going to be leaving soon, I don't want to. I can deal with it in Whitestone.
okay. Thurston.
Unless someone wants to find
Anything?
me 10 gold worth of charcoal
It's a lot of
and
charcoal.
a brass brazier.
mean, if- We're going to the blacksmith.
The easiest place would be a blacksmith. I was just going to say that.
Yeah.
Is there a
Sorry.
brass brazier anywhere? Is that a thing that people have?
So what? What are you looking for?
I need a brass brazier. Need to.
Like a
Oh.
brazier?
Yeah, just
For
like
what?
right.
Find
Find familiar.
Oh.
See what we can find.
Oh no, don't buy one. Like I'm not carrying that with.
All of a sudden, a new decoration shows up in Thurston's house. Surprise!
Don't we have the bag of holding?
I'm not sure it would fit in the bag of holding. I
How
don't
big
know
does
how
it have to be? Or is it just give a size?
Doesn't say. It has to hold
mean-
10 gold worth of charcoal, incense, and herbs, though. So I'm guessing not super small.
Yeah, actually, that's
That's a
a pretty
lot.
valid point. It's gonna be a little beefy.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a fire pit.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
basically a fire pit, and I'm not carrying a fire pit with me to Whitestone.
That's fair.
Well, that's what the wagon's for.
And as we settle on where we're
Also
going, I
not a
just
bad
look at
point.
Thurston and say, I'm not carrying all your clothes in the bag of holding with me.
Damn it, that's what I wanted to
Fine.
talk to Gilmore about.
Just let me know how much gold you guys need from the party funds.
Thurston
sounds,
thinks
like,
to
really
one
sad.
full day of him packing clothes into small bags so he could just easily put them in the bag of holding.
We're taking the
Understand.
cart. So
Marie Kondo this shit.
Yeah, like in the last month, he's gotten so used to be able to like have access to his wardrobe that it's
Mhm.
gonna be a little bit of an adjustment again.
Sorry, buddy.
We're taking the
a
cart.
good plan for this, and Gilmore had to up and go missing,
Mm.
We're taking the
to go.
cart. So
ruining my
mean-
plans.
No, it's not necessary.
No, it is. It's helpful.
For me to have my full wardrobe? Well, yes, but I didn't think that you guys would think so.
no,
It's
we
gonna-
don't.
I do.
It could be useful if Arthea needs spell components, though. It might fetch a lot of
I'm not
gold.
going to use his clothing for spell components.
I mean,
nothing
I'll
that I
sell it
have-
for
My
you.
clothes.
Nothing.
No, no, no.
I'm not going to sell his clothing.
No,
I
no.
mean, he needs to have appropriate.
This is why we're not putting it in the bag of holding, because if I have to carry it.
Either way,
And we need gold. Well, Thurston has a lot of nice ascots and shoes.
We'll just leave everything here.
yeah. How about just let me know how much do you want me to give you money now or just let you know?
No.
Oh, I'll just get it from you afterwards.
Yeah, I think probably just the iron for right now. I can deal with the charcoal and other things unless you can find stuff that I can do tonight before we leave. Otherwise, I'll deal with it on the other side.
I have a
could-
question.
Thurston, anything?
If you're talking about how much 10 gold worth of charcoal is or whatnot.
Mhm.
Cujo, how much charcoal is 10 gold worth of charcoal? Are we talking like a big bag of Kingsford?
That
Are we talking like 10 cubic feet?
We're talking about like when they have a sale on Kingsford and it's like three packs for like $25 or whatever.
Yeah.
I would
That's like a full
say-
summer's worth of barbecues.
well, it's 10
Oh,
gold
shit.
worth of
No, it's
charcoal,
not.
incense, and herbs, so it's the full batch.
Full shebang.
Yeah, I'm
I would
assuming.
say
Yeah.
it would be the equivalent of like a bag and a half of Kingsford,
Okay.
Okay.
but the incense.
I have
Or you have the incense, okay. And then what was the last piece?
herbs,
Herbs.
non-specific. You can make it
I
smell
mean,
whatever. like,
Yeah,
we
I
have a
mean,
kitchen it's and a
And
garden.
I'm just saying, like, if we're gonna be traveling and camping, we'll have charcoal that we can
It's
just
true.
yeah, we
collect
can. We can
charcoal.
collect it. So yeah, the only thing would be thing that it's gonna need to go in. Once
To which
I mean-
I read peace and again. That might also work at a blacksmith. They might be able to have something made.
I trust you.
that's a
I
good
trust
thought.
you guys to find something appropriate.
I mean, does it have
But
to be
it's
a
not. It's
big
really
one?
not
I mean,
necessary. It's not. It's just if we're gonna do this, might as well try and do everything.
Well, we want to be as
All
prepared
right.
as possible. This seems to be a little more.
Overwhelming.
We always seem to get ourselves into trouble we don't intend to. Not naming any names. Especially my own.
I was
You
gonna
just
say.
Feel the pressure of everyone looking right at you.
Just starts bearing down on Dermot.
Not all Dermot's fault. Some
Everyone-
of it,
but
definitely.
I read actually just one of these.
Yeah. Either
All
way,
right.
we should head out.
Let's go.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
First up, let's go with Dermot and Rig.
Okay.
You approach the same small house, like a 2-room house, and actually see that there are a small collection of university personnel that are actually just leaving the house with a
Mhm.
small cart that it's filled with about 7 or 8 of the devices that you had helped Rig construct.
Okay.
As they are just leaving. And the door is standing open. But you enter and find that the trapdoor to his laboratory is also open, as you can hear the sounds of tinkering and stuff beneath.
Okay.
Stepping down the stairs, you see that he is working on this strange collection of metal rods that all seem to be connected in odd angles that sort of form like a strange circle that he is sort of testing. You know, like those little toys where you pull the thing apart and it turns into a big circle?
Yeah.
The plastic things. It's like that, but he's turning it into a ring. And he looks up. Ah,
What are you working on?
Dermot O'Fairy. I am working on my latest commission. It is a portable teleportation circle. He expands the thing out, and it's got the circle, but nothing inside.
But no teleport.
I find it difficult to anticipate how to connect the lines to form said circle. He collapses them all again and places it on the work table, and then turns towards you with a robotic fashion.
I had a question for you. There's a friend of mine may have gone missing a few weeks back. Nobody's been able to get a hold of him. And I was wondering if you had any insights onto how to track a person over distances. I know for like not to like track an animal, a ranger could do that with sufficient skill, but I'm afraid that uh he's he's well trained in the arcane arts. Um so I don't know if we would find any physical trail to follow.
There is one spell known as scrying. It is a high-level divination spell. I unfortunately do not have this spell in my capabilities. However, there is one thing I do have. And he turns, and you see him venture into a room that's attached to his laboratory that you actually did not venture into previously.
Okay.
And as he opens the door, you kind of peek in and see stuff everywhere. Like broken items. You see scrolls that look like they've been torn apart. You see weird looking chairs. You see like all this different accoutrement that makes a Hoarders episode look like child's play.
Uh-huh.
And you hear some rustling, and then you see him emerge, and he holds a small cup, a small mithril cup. And as he emerges, he turns, closes the door. I apologize. The clutter is manageable, but unsightly. And he places the cup on the work table next to the ring that he was working on.
Okay.
He then goes and fetches a jug of water and pours the water into the cup. I find that tea. No, I'm just kidding. He
Have
returns the
some
water
tea.
jug.
It will calm your nerves.
He then lifts the cup so that both of his palms are holding it. And then with his fingers, he taps, taps, taps. And you see the reflection of the water shimmer. And soon you see the gates of the Uminor Observatory. This is a flawed scrying object. This, instead of tracking the known and current whereabouts of a particular creature, this shows their last known location as approximately 5.3 hours prior to its casting. I have just cast it on you. I hope that that was not too forward.
No. It's quite a though not as exact as I would hope for under ideal circumstances, that is definitely definitely a step in the right direction. Do you mind if I try?
By all means. And he places the cup on the ground, and then when he lifts his hands, the reflection of the Uminor. I can't say that tonight. Uminor Observatory fades.
I pick up the cup with both hands.
It is a cup of water.
Do I sense any magical aura on it? Do I inherently like know how to activate this object? Because
I will-
otherwise, I'm just gonna start playing the drums on it.
I will. So, your first question, magical aura. She can give this to you. Pretty much everything in this house has a
Yeah.
magical aura attached to it. So yeah, you assume that you're getting something off of this. Secondly, you did see him as he was holding it and facing you. His fingers went tap, tap, tap.
Okay.
He
I will-
specifically did that.
I will try to emulate his actions as precisely as I can.
Okay.
And
just
I'm
gonna-
going to close my eyes and I'm going to try and picture Gilmore's face.
Okay. I'm just gonna give it to you. That I assume you have motor control over your fingers.
Do you want me to
Um,
roll like a performance check?
You're good. You're good. you focus on Gilmore's face, and it strikes you for a moment that it's been so long that you like remember the fabulous being that is Gilmore, but like the finer details of his face are starting to kind of slip your mind a little bit. It's just been so long. It's a little difficult to focus on. But you do focus enough, and you see the water shimmer. And the image that appears before you. Quick question, actually. Have Faraday and Dermot ever ventured across the Osmond Sea?
I don't think so. Well, they were in Vasselheim.
We did spend some
Yeah.
time in Vasselheim before coming to Taldore.
You find that you are staring at the gates of Vasselheim.
Wait, I knew that. Faraday didn't do that, but I do that.
Wait, I knew that. Okay. And the image persists as long as I'm
Yes.
holding the cup.
Yes, and it's not moving or anything, it's just fixated on that location.
Okay. When Rig cast the spell on me, I could see the observatory, correct?
Yes, you could.
I look at Rig and say, do you fancy yourself an artist? My hands are full.
Calculating.
Recalculating.
GPS signal lost. Please connect me to your Google map.
The number you have dialed is not in service. Please hang up.
Why the hell
and
did you
try
buy
again."
Why the hell did you buy the TomTom? Jesus.
Actually, there's a joke that somebody from Game Grumps said. Is like, I got a call about my prescription. It's one of those automated systems. Like, yeah, prescription for Dan Avadan is ready for pickup. But like, I guess the name was messed up, so it was like prescription for is ready for pickup. Please appear at this address at o'clock. It was like a nightmare sound. That's what happens when Rig is drunk. I
Drunk
am
on, like
capable.
motor oil.
Yeah, after a moment, I just say it doesn't have to be perfect.
What image do you need?
This one.
He bends over and looks at the cup and then reorients himself so he's looking at the view you are. Give me a moment. And you see he turns and pulls a large piece of parchment out. And then he's actually weirdly has a brush. Because I don't know if you know this, people who want magical items made want them to look fancy. So he has to make them look fancy. He takes a paintbrush and dips it into black paint. Let's see. Okay. It takes about 7 minutes, but he replicates the image that is reflected in the cup.
Okay.
As the gates of Whitestone, he even gets some of the mountains in the distance.
You mean
It's actually a
Vasselheim?
really good painting.
It's the gates of Vasselheim, right?
Vasselheim, sorry. Vasselheim.
You said Whitestone.
Shut up. You know what I mean.
While he's drawing this, I try and take a closer look at this ring thing that he's working on. Can I make an
Okay.
Arcana check?
Sure, go for it.
Oh shit, that's really good. I might feel good about saying the thing that I want to say to him. 21.
Okay. What is the thing that you want to say to him?
I am using knowledge of teleportation circles. With a 21, I feel justified that I know something about them.
Okay.
I say to him, aren't teleportation circles, don't the runes have to match in a certain way almost like an address, right?
He like stops mid painting, and then looks up at you. You are a fast learner.
What if you inscribed pieces of those runes on each metal band so that depending on how wide you expended the ring, the lines would match up in different ways?
He puts the paintbrush down, turns, and unfurls the blueprint that he was working on.
And
In the
lights it
corner.
on fire.
In the corner, you see him quickly mark down what you just said. It takes him a couple seconds. And he curls it back up. And he goes and he finishes the image. Okay. After that, he presents the art that you asked him to make. And the ink is dried at this point, or the paint is dried at this point. And
I
he
cast prestidigitation and dry the ink if I need to.
He curls up that parchment and hands it to you.
Uh-huh.
And then says, I also have something for you. He turns and goes near that door that leads to the fucking trash heap.
The junk closet.
Yes. And he pulls a book. And he approaches and offers it to you. This is a book for advanced students. I am gifting it to you, as you have shown a knack for this sort of work. Initially, when I referred to you as my apprentice, it was for that project alone. But now I feel that you have exceeded that expectation, and as such, I would like to teach you more.
I would certainly like to learn more.
I understand that you are a traveler and adventurer. Therefore, if I can supply knowledge for you to study while traveling, then this will accomplish the same goal.
I'll make sure the next time we're in town, I will trade in this book for the next one then.
I look forward
And see
to it.
how and I'll check in on your work as well.
I would like that very much. And he gives a bow.
And I return it.
Go ahead and mark down that you have like a beginner's level spell book. Because surprise, surprise, after the session, you guys are leveling up.
Yay!
Because the RP
This is
sessions.
what class I'm going to start multi-classing into.
What's up?
I said
I don't-
3 guesses as to where I'm going to start
Yeah,
multi-classing.
I know. No idea.
I don't
Bard.
know, like
Barbarian.
I was thinking that, it'd be like a druid or something.
Yeah. I'm going to start
Very
multi-classing.
among nature. Such a nature lover. Quit hugging the trees, damn it.
No, barbarian, 100%.
Barbarian.
It's legit. Yeah.
The best barbarian ever. Satyr barbarian. Yes.
When you hear that clippity clap,
Ooh.
you're dead.
Just
that
turn
clippity
it.
Only
always spells your doom.
Yes. Now I kind
That
of
is
want
the
this.
clippity clap of death, you say.
I really
heavy.
want this. Like, I want this to be a legend.
Heavy
Just all of a
metal.
sudden you hear Black Hole Sun start playing.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
the clap.
Yes.
No, Dermot the Barbarian, his theme song is 100% Smoke on the Water. You just hear it low and slow in the deepest, darkest depths of a cave.
I
Bum,
love it.
bum, 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 bum,
Moving on.
Love it.
Are you sure
Rig
it's not Enter
also-
Sandman?
Rig also offers the cup to you to take with you if you'd like.
I accept it, and in return, I will give him a small piece of lyrium that I still have because I had a few. And I
You-
say maybe this will help in your research.
You see, he doesn't have pupils, he doesn't have irises, but he is staring at the lyrium. I am unfamiliar, but I will conduct research. And you see, he no gloves.
Don't touch it with your bare hands.
Retracts his hand.
It has some inherent magical properties that prolonged direct exposure can have some effects that are unwelcome to some, although fascinating to others. Just be cautious when handling it.
He turns and takes a small pair of tongs and very gently lifts it from your hand. Did you put it on the work table or whatever?
Yeah, I set it down on the work table.
Okay. He lifts it from the work table and pulls it over to his arcane table where you can see he's got a bunch of different runes and all arcane instruments all hooked up and ready to go. And he just places it in the center. And he turns. I will begin researching it immediately, as it is fascinating to me. And when you return, I expect I shall also be finished with the portable teleportation circle.
I'll be interested to see how it works.
As will I. Gives another bow. Any other questions you have for Mr. Rigg?
No. With that, I take my leave and head back to the Nollard estate.
Okay. Up next, we've got people who are going to the temple, or are you going to the blacksmith? There's kind of all in one thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll just do. I mean, I figured the shopping can be a real quick,
I'll say, given that the Nollard estate is not too far from the merchant district, as you guys are making your way through the town, you do come upon. I'm gonna change the ambient bullshit. You come upon a small, like clearing next to a large building, with a sign that sort of hangs out along a large fence that sort of blocks the area off that says Smithy, but it's kind of cocked to one side. As you can hear the hammer to steel come from right around the corner. It's assumed that this is an outdoor forge of some kind. And you guys turn the corner. Quickly turn off the hawker, because fuck you. As you guys turn the corner, you can see that it is truly an outdoor forge. You can see bits of armor, you see swords and pikes and everything sort of on display on the outside on these different racks, along with some other, pieces of candlesticks, basically other miscellaneous sort of items. And you can see in a somewhat hooded, like tent structure, a larger human male hammering what appears to be an axe. And this human is a built dude with this mess of curls that are salt and pepper that sort of hang down across his over his eyes a little bit. And he has this long, big, bushy gray beard that sort of is tucked into his belt a little bit to keep from catching on fire. He's got soot and dirt all over himself. He's wearing the blacksmith's apron. As he is hammering away, he looks up. Can I help you?
Hi, yes. We were looking for some components. Would we be able to buy a piece of iron here? Not plated, but full iron.
He looks and for magic, yeah,
Yeah.
right. He turns to there's like a small just collection of metal bits. It just picks the biggest piece of iron he finds. Will this work? It's a like a roughly human bar, maybe about that big.
I think
That'll-
so.
Would it be
Not
bad?
much of a magic.
I
Not
like
much
to
of a
CAD.
magic user myself.
Would it be bad to get it shaped into some sort of... I don't know. You taught her how to use the... You taught her how to use the crossbow, but does she have anything like a dagger? Like, I wonder if we should... Do we have time for
I
that?
have many daggers if you need. I've
Anything out of
already-
iron?
Iron dagger? No.
It's probably not
a lot
very-
of people around here like steel.
It's probably not very strong.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a soft metal. It requires a lot of working.
We'll just take that then. I think that should work.
Yep.
He just gives you, like, holds out the piece of iron. I'm
Thank you.
not gonna charge for extra scrap, but I appreciate you stopping by. Is there anything else you need?
You wouldn't happen to know where we could find or possibly have that we could see about purchasing a bronze brazier, would you?
I could make something for you real quick. And bronze is typically easy to work with. It'll take a couple hours, but I would have to charge a little bit if you needed this on the spot.
Of course. How much would that be?
So, how big are we talking?
I like a fair day.
Enough to hold about... And she kind of like... I don't know, you know, like, kind of measures with her arms about, like, what she thinks maybe the amount could be.
You're measuring with your arms to a blacksmith, and he's like,
Not a blacksmith.
Hashtag
needs
not
to
a
hold
blacksmith.
about 10. Needs to hold about 10 gold worth of charcoal.
I'm guessing this is more magic
Mm-hmm.
stuff.
Mhm.
I can probably come up with something. Say 10 silver.
You do
Okay. Yeah. I
Alright,
just I hand him the silver.
oh, thanks. And he pockets it. Yeah, I'd say come by nightfall, and I should have that ready to go for you.
Thank you
Much
very
appreciated.
much.
Thank you.
What name for the order?
Oh, I'm sorry, Cadriel.
Cadriel. Care. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Here. That was Courtney, not Cadriel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll just get right on it. And he turns, and you see he immediately starts gathering together. It was bronze, right? I don't know why my brain's thinking copper.
It's
Yeah.
brass.
Brass.
Oh, brass.
He starts
Well,
gathering
I
from his
also.
materials.
Do I
Bronze,
owe you more
brass,
for
copper.
It was the one that started with a B.
Bronze, brass.
You burn it instead of getting a familiar, you get some like demonic thing.
Kill me. Like, oh god, oh god.
All of a sudden, Arthea has little mister.
Yeah.
Oh.
She's like, I'm not sure this is what they're
Mister.
supposed to look like.
Suddenly we've turned into an episode of Full Metal Alchemist.
Yeah.
Whoops.
You can see he turns and immediately starts getting together different pieces of brass and starts getting that project started for you guys right away.
Perfect.
Elegant Faraday, should I have asked about the charcoal?
I think we can get charcoal. We could ask on the way back. When we pick it up.
Yeah, maybe we should bring the cart to pick it up. Or not. We can both carry it.
Yeah, I don't think it'd be a problem.
Anyway, I thank him and wave a little bit as we head out.
Yeah. Be safe. He just goes back to working.
We should definitely get some extra supplies just in case. I know our journey here took longer than we intended it to. I don't know. Maybe we should just start expecting the delays that we run into.
Well, we know we can at least stop in Tersfield. Have us safe places. Get a bed for a little bit. For a night.
We can camp out in our own bar.
Yeah,
Might be easier than answering questions.
probably.
Okay, well. I guess on to the temple. Are you sure you don't mind coming in?
Are you sure they're gonna be okay with me coming in? I can wait outside.
They're not scary. I think that their reputation precedes them a little bit. The Raven Queen, she deals in death, but it doesn't mean they just want it to come for everyone before their time.
I'm a little interested to see the inside of it.
And you should come in.
Okay.
Head over to the temple.
You head over to the temple. I wonder if there's any ambient stuff. Timber, maybe?
Not like
Mayhem?
hymn sounding music. I don't want
There's a Belmonk temple. Give it a shot, I guess. Well, it's a little loud. Okay, we're just gonna turn that down. Probably while I play with Sirenscape mid-session.
Eh.
You step, or you guys make your way over to the Temple of the Raven Queen, and it's pretty much just as you left it. As you step inside, you can see that the altar, it looks like it was just finished being cleaned. And you can see that there is, surprisingly, a couple of patrons actually inside offering prayers to the Raven Queen. Two of which are, looks like they are a tiefling couple. They have, the male has some tears in his eyes, but is holding strong, and what is presumed to be his wife looks overcome, but is going through the correct prayer and whatnot. And the third patron is an older woman off to the side, like in the far corner. And she has a brown hood kept up just over her forehead, but you can see little peaks of white hair sort of peek through the cloak. And she silently is knelt and kneeling and is offering her own muttered words for a prayer to the Raven Queen as well. Totally had her name written down this time. We totally did. Totally did. They totally did not. Where the hell is it?
a woman
Hold
or
on.
the temple attendant.
Wait. Got her. Really? Okay. You do see Rayla. I'm terrible. You do see Rayla, who is essentially on hand in case the tiefling couple needs any assistance. But she sees you both enter, and she regards you with a nod and approaches lightly and says, "Welcome back, Adriel. And I don't believe we've met. May I ask your name?"
Faraday.
Faraday. I am Rayla. She gives a very graceful bow. I am
Oh.
the keeper of the temple here.
Faraday is one of my my friends that I told you about when I visited here
Wonderful. It's wonderful.
quite a
to
few
meet you.
times. Is there somewhere that we could speak a little bit privately? I understand that you can't step away from your duty, but on our way out of town, some things that have come up that are, I don't know if they're urgent so much as dire, I suppose.
Let me fetch another priest. Give me just one. And you see she steps away and steps into a small side room, and you can see that another priestess steps out, and she's got pigtails, but they're like beautiful long braids that are sort of kept towards the center of her chest. And she essentially takes the spot right where Rayla was, as Rayla beckons you, the both of you, to step further into the temple. You guys step further in, and it's actually Kedril, it's a new spot for you to be in. You guys are essentially brought into the innermost chamber, where there is a beautifully worked statue of the Raven Queen, sort of carved into the wall. And there are a couple of tables. There's a small pool right at the base of the statue as well, so that they can have their own private, worship. But there's nobody else in the room. How may I be of assistance?
Sorry to cause you a panic. It's just that, well, a friend of ours seems to be missing, and we spent some time at the observatory this morning, and it seems that some of the problems that we've been running into, some of the things that I've spoken to you about in the last month, as I try to reconcile them, are, well, I don't know if they're connected, but, and I kind of glance over at Faraday like, I don't even know how to explain what we discussed at the observatory. We are seeing more and more evidence that there's something out of balance with the planes. And the first time I came in here, I remember a man coming in here that was drunk and talked about all of the, pardon my language, but the bad shit that keeps happening. And you said it had been happening more of late. And I know the mistress is, death is her domain, but I was wondering if you knew anything about the plane that she resides on, and if there's anything out of balance with what you've been seeing in your meditations and worship and everything of that nature.
As for the gentleman, when I meant that it was happening more and more frequently, I attributed it to the realization of the mountain that all of us in Tel'Dorei had to climb to recover what we had lost when the Chroma Conclave had attacked. And ever since you've been stopping by and offering prayer, there haven't been any other outlandish, belligerent people visiting. So I believe that what that man was enduring was just grief, and he didn't quite know how best to deal with it. So
I see.
I believe that, unfortunately, our mistress has borne the brunt of some of the grief that our people suffer. As for the plane, the Raven Queen, along with the other deities, reside beyond the Divine Gate. Some call it the supernal realm. In my prayers, I haven't felt anything out of ordinary. I can't say that I'm really an expert on if there's anything different. I don't believe that there's been any change in communing with the mistress.
Let's see. It's not like we can just knock on her window and ask her how her day was.
She laughs lightly and says, "If it were only that easy."
Let me ask you this. Something called the underplane has been coming up in connection with many of the things that we've come across, and have you ever heard of that in conjunction with, well, a Raven Queen, I suppose?
That I'm aware of. I know it's sort of an invasion of privacy, but sometimes I tend to overhear the prayers that visitors come to offer. But I haven't heard of that term.
Kind of look at Faraday like, I'm not really sure where else to go with this. I I felt her with me in prayer, but I've never. It's not like I'm worthy of a conversation with her, so I don't know how I would otherwise ask.
Do you say that out loud?
Yeah.
She puts a hand on your shoulder. She guides in many different ways. Just because you don't hear her voice doesn't mean she is not speaking to you.
Well, certainly don't think she's the one that sends me the dreams that I have.
I am uncertain. Have you actually confessed to Rayla about your dreams?
Probably because she feels that it would be a safe space to
Okay.
do so.
Okay. I'll say that when you do confess those, obviously in the moment of hearing about this imagery, she is a little put off, but she's not, she doesn't run, she doesn't climb up. She is there to support and is always there to offer guidance. So her only response is that she is uncertain who would put such visions upon another.
That's the thing. I'm quite sure I know who it is. And if it's somehow connected, I think that we're all in very great danger.
You can see that her expression shifts from concern to understanding. And she says, if I hear anything, you are the first person I shall contact. And
We're going to be leaving Western tomorrow. If you send word ahead to Marin at the White Rose Tavern in Whitestone, I'll be able to get it there.
Right, it shall be done.
Thank
Travel
you.
safely, Cadriel.
Thank you. And I kind of.
Before you leave, she actually takes your hand and just does like a "you're going to be fine" sort of comforting sort of grasp on your hand.
And I take that and kind of bow my head a little bit. And after I spoke about my dreams, I kind of very distinctly avoid eye contact with Faraday and start kind of heading back towards the front of the temple.
Okay.
Did you want to look around?
She'll follow and kind of linger at the back of the space where the other people are, just kind of looking for a second. No, I think this is all we can do here.
As you are making your way, actually, I apologize. Court, you're about to say something.
I was just gonna say, I guess we should make sure to go stock up on the food rations.
As you guys are leaving, just with a passive perception, the old woman is gone. But nothing seems to be awry.
Would we have gotten any vibe from her, for lack of a better word, that maybe she was doing a little more reconnaissance than praying?
Make an insight check. I'll say at disadvantage because this was kind of in passing as you guys were walking through.
Oh God, neither of those is good. 9.
9?
Yeah.
You have no idea. You don't know if it was maybe just a quick prayer, but you're not quite sure.
As we're walking out, Faraday will kind of... She'll respect the no eye contact. But say,
This is
like...
Spring Faraday.
But this is a little Spring Faraday, so, like, you know... And she'll say... You know you can talk to me about it, right? I may not understand completely, but I think I would understand more than some.
I suppose that everything that I'm not afraid of, it's the one thing that I am.
That I definitely understand.
You know, you can talk to me about. I see the look on your face sometimes. Especially when we've spoken about the Feywild.
I think it's one of the few things that scares me.
One of the few things that I would very much like to see someday. But I won't ask you to show me around.
Dermot would be a much better tour guide, I think.
I don't know how
Dermot's
well I
ears
could
perk up. Somebody's coming.
from somewhere.
Who said that?
I don't know that I could keep up with him. He's very energetic.
That he is. It takes a very special, very particular person to keep up with Dermot O'Ferry.
Unfortunately, I have a feeling that what I have to confide in you about is not something I can keep to myself for very much longer. And for now, I need to think about it.
I'm here. Just as I know you're here for me. When the
I
time's
just
right.
squeeze her shoulder.
Kind of leans
Head
into you
out.
a little bit.
No. All right. For the sake of time, I will say that you guys do stop by a food store.
Mhm.
Whatever items you're picking, are you just picking up rations?
Yeah.
Rations, and Cadriel very specifically picks up a large bag of jerky for Arathea and some crackers and some hard cheese.
Nice. Nice charcuterie.
Yep. It's roadside charcuterie.
Love it.
And
I'd say I set you back a gold. Just
okay. And then she also gets a couple of, if they have it, like I'm thinking like grocery store where you can buy alcohol also. She gets like a couple bottles for their journey. Like, you know, they're going to be camping out, campfires. They might as well make the most of it.
I will say that you do find a bottle of alcohol you have not had before. It is
Okay.
honey mead.
Oh.
Um,
It's, if there, I will take, if there's more than one,
oh yeah,
I'll take
yeah.
maybe like a couple for, it's a long journey to White's.
Faraday's mouth starts unintentionally salivating, like it's like a Pavlovian response.
With the alcohol, I say that goes up to 3 gold.
Okay.
But yeah, you've got whatever supplies you guys want to have bought. There you go.
Perfect.
Go ahead and come up with the list. You guys got it. That's fine. As long as it's not like I have a ring of immunity to DM bullshit. Like
No magical
it's
items, but
it's
basic
like-
items, yeah.
Yeah, it's like rations and snacks and a couple bottles of that mead, and maybe like, I don't imagine that they travel with like cups and shit, so maybe just a couple things so that they can, you know, pour the mead in something.
Yeah, we have mess kits, so.
Okay, yeah, so then I assume that has at least some
plenty
kind of like
torches.
beat up metal cup or something like that, you know.
Nope,
Yeah.
we're just
Yeah.
passing the meat around.
I mean, you
Listen.
know,
Thurston
Some people
has
think
like
Thurston
a
would
hanky
prefer a
just
cup.
yeah,
Yeah.
he has a hanky just for like cleaning it off, like when everyone sips. Like it's nothing personal. It's just being hygienic. That's all.
Does he use the same one for that? Like, is there one distinctive one
Yes,
that?
it is
Okay.
dedicated to that purpose.
Okay.
God. Thurston and Arathea, you guys are going outside of town, correct?
Yes, we
Towards
are.
the tower.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Me will I once again change the ambient stuff because I am a stickler for that stuff. You you take your horses and you adventure out a couple miles on the Iman side of town. And the landscape is a teeny bit, well, uneven, but not hazardly so. Some rolling hills, and then eventually starts to flatten out. And there's a smattering of a few trees and whatever. It's actually a really nice day out now that the snow is starting to melt. And as you come over a particularly larger hill, you can actually see sort of poking up in the distance this craggy, strangely upright tower that looks like physics don't apply to this thing. However, it was built, whatever storms it weathered, it has left it jagged and just not uniform, not straight. It is just, it's like Merlin's tower from Sword in the Stone. It's a nightmare of construction.
Like the Weasley house.
Mhm.
Kind of like the Weasley house, yeah.
All crooked and
Yeah, crooked
can't
was the
just-
term I've been searching for. God dang
On
it.
the one hand, on the one hand, it looks really cool and it definitely screams magic. On the other hand, I'm not sure that's structurally sound.
As you say that, you see two little birds like flying through the air, little songbirds, and they're like, "Oh, that's so cute." They're like chasing each other, and then one of them gets a little too close to the tower, and you just see,
Oh,
and you just see feathers drifting to the ground.
amazing.
maybe I grow up detect magic.
Yes, he
as we
certainly
get a-
doesn't seem to want any visitors.
Yeah, maybe I'll just
You
I'll start getting that ready just in case there's more of those.
you throw up detect magic as you guys are approaching, and you can see that this tower, every brick has some sort of magic attuned to it. But a lot of the magic that you notice on the tower itself actually deals with space. I don't know the school, but basically it's space manipulation. Towards the top of the tower, specifically near the open window, you do see some evocation attached to the windowsill. This is a highly advanced magical structure that essentially has its own workarounds and its own consistent spells that are on pretty much at any given time. But the door does not have any magical energy attached to it.
Well, the door is clear. We should definitely not touch anything else. But the door should be fine. So we can start with knocking. Hope for the best.
I'm sure it will be fine.
I mean, you figure if he didn't want any visitors, he would just put that down here too.
Yes, and Estella did say that some adventurers do visit, so I'm sure that will be received in some manner.
He's staring up at the tower, trying to figure out, like, the contorted space. Well, I suppose the worst that can happen is we get no answer, and we turn around and go back. And think positive.
Yes.
Yes.
Thurston will
Maybe
walk up and go ahead and just give a nice little knock.
leave the horses back there. She'll like
Oh,
find
yeah,
a
yeah.
place to leave the horses that's not extremely close to the tower, just in case.
So you do this
That's-
teeny little knock, and a couple seconds go by, and then you start to hear what sounds like one of those wooden blocks that hold doors closed slowly slide, put to the side. And then you hear the jingling of keys and an iron lock. There's no door. There's no door. Sorry. There's no doorknob. There's no iron lock. But you're hearing the sound on the other side. So keys are being pushed through a lock. And then you're hearing what sounds like large pieces of iron and steel grating against each other. Something large is moved out of the way. And then you're hearing the sounds of as something large is being pushed to the side. And then eventually, after about 30 seconds of just all sorts of sounds coming from this door, it creaks open. And peering out, maybe about 3 feet tall, is a sheep that is bipedal, wearing what looks to be some older looking robes, and has a small pair of round glasses on its nose. May I help you? The master is very busy.
Yes, I apologize for dropping by unannounced. I was hoping to be able to speak to Mr. Rendarian, if he's available.
As I previously stated, the master is currently busy. How may I be of assistance?
Well, you see, we came on the suggestion of a dear friend from the university. They did suggest that we speak directly to the master, understanding his wonderful skill set and advanced knowledge.
Name this connection to the university.
Her name is Estella.
And you see the door slowly start to close.
And
then
he'll
it
kind of
closes.
like put his hand
okay.
there, like he's not gonna like push it open, but just kind of like holding a little bit.
Aw.
The door opens once again. Mr. Rendarian does not associate with those at the Humanoid Observatory, and I'm afraid you have been misled. As I've stated previously, the master is very busy. Is there anything else I can do to assist you?
Well, you'll forgive me for being so forward, but you would be most of assistance by allowing us in to see your master.
Make a persuasion check with disadvantage.
Get it.
I'm sorry
Get
I
it,
wasn't there to
Thurston.
cast friends.
I don't know. This sheep's kind of an asshole.
I don't cast it on the
Even-
sheep. I cast it on myself.
That's true.
That's the
19.
beauty of friends.
19? Shit.
Yeah, the other one would have been a 23, but you made me roll
Oh
disadvantage.
shit! Oh shit!
You will enter, you will walk with one step behind me, and do not touch anything. And he pulls the door open the rest of the way and begins walking. You both are led into an impossibly huge room. This room is, it doesn't even feel like a room. It feels like you're essentially stepping into like a complete different location where it almost feels, you feel like a breeze rolling through. It's a little bit chillier. You look and you can see almost like a skyline of crazy ice peaked mountains and almost like northern lights up above you. And the only thing you can really see is this spiral staircase that's just placed in the center of this large expanse that you are surrounded by that slowly goes up. As you approach this spiral staircase, the sheep turns once again and says, "Wait here, I will see that the master greets you." And then you hear
Mini
clop. You hear clop, clop, clop going up the staircase. As you wait, you're sitting and looking, and you're in this winter wonderland where there's snow along the ground and this beautiful winter landscape in front of you, but you're not entirely certain it's real, given that you just walked through a door. And just as you're in the sights, you're seeing the nature of everything shift, and you see that the snow is replaced with grass, and whatever area you're inside this tower, the weather mimics the weather that you just come in from. As the
Like
sun is high in the sky,
paradise.
just a few clouds, and you see, taking his time, walking down the stairs, staff in hand, hand on the railing, is an old man with the bald spot that goes over like 90% of his head, but he's got the long hair everywhere else. Clean shaven face, mostly, with a few patches here and there. He walks with a slight, very slight hunch, like his shoulders are just a little bit too high up. So it kind of makes him gives him this crotchety, like he has a hump look. Um, and he slowly makes his way down, and he's wearing what looks to be simple, like purple robes with a little bit of like a nice accented sash or something like that. He's not really one to pay attention to his appearance all that much, but he's slowly. How may I help you?
Good day. Thank you very much for seeing us unannounced. I apologize for the inconvenience. I am Lord Thurston Dollard. Uh, okay. And Thurston kind of pauses as he sees him like
He
start
sees
to.
just he takes out a piece of bread that you're like that's like 2 weeks stale, but he's like,
Okay. But my friend and I have come to seek your advice. You were recommended to us.
yes, yes, Estella, correct? The Stargazer.
Correct. And Thurston was like expecting to be like led into a sitting room or something, but like, okay, all right, fine.
You seem to misunderstand. I am entirely too busy to be having conversations about stars going out and apocalypses. I have my own work to do, so can we just hurry this along?
And what work is that you're doing at the moment, if I might ask?
Estella couldn't quite have the words to explain.
My work is my own. And his eyebrow just sort of peaks a little bit at the prodding question.
Apologies, I was simply curious. My magic is of a different sort. It's much more natural. So whenever someone is discovering and tinkering, I can't help but be curious.
And you see he taps his staff twice on the ground, and his eyes slowly glow just this light bluish color. Strange. You, he points at Arthea. You're a arcanist, a wizard, correct? I can
I
tell by
am.
your books.
Well, in training, I guess.
You.
I am a sorcerer.
Mm. You see his sight lingers on you for a second. Mm. All right, what questions do you have? Come upstairs. And he turns and starts. Every step he takes, you just hear that grunt. At one point, he like stops and like adjusts his back a little bit, and then continues. You are led up the spiral staircase into a small study of some kind, where there are books that line the walls, and there is a really big fireplace with a couple of comfy chairs, and there's a small side table with a full tea set with tea that seems to be steaming hot. He makes his way to the biggest and most comfy chair, puts his staff against it, and then
Are there other chairs
there are
that are
You know,
that one
actually-
can actually sit in?
he's got one other comfy chair like that, and there are a couple like stools on the side.
Thurston will gesture for Arthea to take the comfy chair and take one of the
Are you
stools.
sure?
What a
course.
gentleman.
Kind of like settle herself in the chair.
And then he kind of like looks at Arathea like to start questioning because like he's like, I got us in here, but you understand the concept of what we were talking about much more than I do. I can talk us into a room, and I'm done.
I am done. I've done my part. I have done my I have worked my magic. We got upstairs. I'm out. Let me scroll backwards. So you mentioned Estella already spoke with you or tried to speak with you.
Yeah, she was wasting my time.
Are you sure she was wasting your time?
Positive.
How?
Because the stars come and go as they will. It's the will of the universe. Things come and go. They will come back eventually.
And if they haven't come back,
Then they're just taking their time.
have you ever measured it?
Why would I measure the time it takes for a star to return? That is the
Well, how would-
useless.
How would you know they come back if you don't?
I don't like you. But I respect you.
Oh my God. I feel like
That line of work and questioning is more meant for one Estella. Perhaps you should reconvene with her.
See, she thinks that you might be more inclined to understand the why. It goes beyond her expertise. She's
Why? The why
not
of what?
not the stars necessarily. Think of the stars as maybe a symptom of something else. If the stars are going out, like you said, could be natural, could be unnatural. They could come back, they could not. But so far, they've just gone out. None of them have come back. There's no indication any of them will come back, and there are other irregularities.
What other irregularities?
I don't know if we could call them pieces, but elements of other planes.
What?
Leading.
Speak more plainly. What do you mean?
Plainly.
Takes them like 5 seconds. It's not a joke. That's right.
He does crack a teeny smile.
We've encountered some various up north near Joranville, up near Gat Shadow.
Why are you near Gat Shadow?
Well, not exactly on purpose. We had some business up there. But
You unfortunately remind me of some old acquaintances.
are they alive or dead?
Most of them are alive.
It's good.
That's promising.
Yeah.
I'm not over it.
All right. It's good that you're a wizard. That means you record everything you see, right? Being a fledgling studying member of the arcane arts. So why don't you just give me your journal? I'll read through your journal, and then I can tell you what I see and what my professional opinion is. That way we don't have to mince words, come up with different terms, and literally see what it is you're talking about.
She looks reluctant. Should I? Thurston?
And asking to go through a wizard's journal?
Seriously.
Like asking your girlfriend to go through her phone.
I
Or
Thurston
hers.
is thinking like, if I went through my sister's journal, I'd be murdered. Inheritance or no inheritance. Like,
Eskel Raydarian.
oh, this is gonna hurt.
Hers
Well,
are mostly like
She's
receipts
not
and
going to hand over the
chapstick.
journal. What she will do is tear out the pages from the time that they arrived up in Joran. So it's the record of everything that they saw from when they entered the forest, through the blizzard, up through Gat Shadow. It does include the ruins and just that section, so nothing before or after.
He looks through and he pays close attention to the you included the stuff outside of Whitestone, correct?
Yeah, the ruins from outside of Whitestone,
Mhm.
the copies of the teleportation circle that
Got it.
was found underneath, and the reflection of both of those since the
Cool.
one shifted.
Okay.
And probably mentions of underplane and all of that lovely stuff.
He examines him and his brow continues to furrow as he reads through the notes. He doesn't say anything. He pays close attention to each drawing of a rune and the teleportation circles that you'd come up with. It's not supposed to work.
But it does. We've
Or
seen it.
Did you see it work?
Yes.
You
We
saw this
killed the-
teleportation circle work.
No. The teleportation circle, no. We did hear the individual who presumably used it say that it was one way only. So from somewhere else to here. It was broken when we got there.
We have seen the other backwards runes in action, however.
We killed the things they were on.
Animating.
Animating? Summoning?
Summoning?
Yeah, I was
He
thinking.
closes the journal. He hands it back. You see him rise, start looking through his books. And as he's looking, he's picking different books out. And in the distance, you hear another lightning bolt and another bird squawk. I'll start here. This underplane, in what context did you hear?
The first time was spirits, I think. I don't know if they were ghosts, shadows. Definitely shadows.
Picks up another book.
But we've heard it.
Noise.
We've seen it since then. We've heard it mentioned in Draca's.
Oh, Enred.
Yes, the
Mad
yes, the mad one. It appeared in his writings, and let's see, she's going to control F her brain. Just give.
I'll begin my research. If I find anything, I'll send you a message. And he immediately starts like pouring through some books. And as he does, he kind of looks up. Did you have more questions? I'm doing what you want me to do.
Oh, I didn't. You'll help.
I'm a man who likes things routine. I like my tea in the morning. I like my morning walk. I like my delicious breakfast. And I like to work. I'm making my own spells. That's what my life is. That's what my life is going to be. And I can't do that if the planes are all fucking things up. So, yes, I will continue with this foolish theory that stars disappearing are a sign of the end times. But I will go at my own pace, but you will have access to my knowledge. Seem fair?
more than fair.
If I find anything, I'll send you a message.
Well, we appreciate it. And if we encounter any more of these, they seem to pop up with annoying regularity.
If these runes are popping up, that means that there are people on this side that are tampering.
Yeah, I think we might have killed one of them.
That's what I read in the journal. That fall would kill any man.
Well, there's another one still out there somewhere. So if we see more, should we relay to you?
Yes.
Okay.
Also, you've unintentionally looped me in to whatever dealings are happening. So I sort of have to participate now.
That's actually
If
how
they
we
knew
kind of
your
got
name,
involved.
if they knew your name, and he looks to Thurston, that means they already know where you live. That means they know who you associate with. That means they know which hand you write with. And he looks at Arthea. They know everything about you. Which means by you coming to my tower, now I am now affiliated with this.
Wow. We did not have any intention of putting anyone in harm's way, but we do appreciate your assistance, as you said. The planes being
Imbalanced.
out of sorts, yes, unbalanced, have ramifications that none of us can ignore.
He turns and he fetches off of his bookshelf a dagger. And he approaches Thurston. Maybe you or one of your friends can make use of this.
Thurston will take it, but like it looks a little awkward.
It's a really ornately carved dagger with a cross handle coming up, almost like a sai, but not quite. And there is a gold wire that sort of winds along the handle of this blade of which is very sharp. Says, I crafted this after one of those acquaintances had passed away. I was always fascinated by the stories I heard of what his dagger could do. So I made it. Whoever uses this can teleport to wherever they throw the dagger within an instant of it landing. Other than that, it cuts a little deeper.
Thurston. Arthea just looks at Thurston like, I should
We're gonna give this to Cad. We're definitely gonna give this to Cad.
know your Faraday.
I saw Cord's face light up.
I'm just imagining like, yep, here's a sorcerer and a wizard looking at this dagger being like, magic, absolutely not use that. Like, wow, that's really awesome. You made it do those things. Like, that's really
Yeah.
cool.
The spell
Totally.
crafting is top notch.
The idea of throwing it, like, that's gonna end up one of us teleporting halfway.
He'll then turn to Arthea. Name a scroll.
What?
Name a scroll
Of anything?
within reason.
Just broke Earthy's brain.
With
Eternal wish scroll. I wish everything was okay. Campaign over.
No.
Like the wish book in Zelda.
Yeah.
I wish Ganon were dead, everything were fine.
Are we for out of game, or is there like a level restriction?
Out of game, what spells can you cast right now?
I can cast up
level?
to third right now.
I will
Fourth.
allow up to fourth.
Fourth will be when we level up.
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
You know what? Screw it. You have up to a 5th level spell,
Oh, shit.
Oh god, and
but you have 1.
yeah, I know.
And it's a scroll. He's not putting this in your spell book, so he's just giving you a scroll.
Doesn't mean I can't copy it later.
It's true. But you never know when you have to hit that panic button.
Yeah, I know.
I love teasing the panic button.
Man, I wish this list wasn't so damn long. Okay. Let's go up to my 5th levels. Anything on 5th levels that I have? right
Arthea's mind is like a
It's
Rolodex
like, I know.
of spells right now.
I was just gonna say
like-
you broke her brain.
Yeah.
No.
Because of course Tina has a list.
Yeah, I do. I have it leveled up to 10. I
Nice.
have a spreadsheet.
Yes.
We'll see if it ends up die before then. Do you have something like Misty Step, but that allows you to move further? I have a habit of ending up in, well, we all have a habit of ending up in places that are maybe a little bit too close to things that we should not be close to.
A lot of flowery language. How
Far
far?
Step.
He turns and opens this drawer that's just got a bunch of scrolls that are wrapped up, like standing upright, and he pulls the drawer and pulls and pulls and pulls and pulls as it's just appearing from some extra dimensional space in the wall.
Just scroll that. That would make taking your stuff a lot easier.
What?
He taps
I
his
could
staff
have
on the
one
ground, and the
closet.
drawer starts to close. And
30
that's-
seconds later. She takes it like super gingerly.
it's paper. It's not going to vanish.
I know.
What about you?
Oh, me? There's me?
Yes, you.
Oh.
This version of you, whichever you want to go with.
Oh, geez. Now I have to think of spells.
Shit.
Fuck. Like, Thurston's just accustomed to it just being Arthea that, like, does it. Like, yeah, that's
Mhm.
totally Arthea's thing. Cool, yeah, whatever, that's fine.
He's like, I just wake up sometimes and I know different. I know more of. It's
Yeah,
weird.
it's kind of, it's weird, but it's cool.
I wake up and I feel like I just have a lot more energy and I can just do things with it.
Ah, that's the dream, isn't it?
I know, right? That's why it's fantasy
That
role.
what happens when you actually sleep for like more than like 5 hours.
Yeah, we need a full 8
Is
hours.
that
of
why I
sleep.
don't get my spell slots back?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you don't get a full rest.
Damn. You know what? I think that explains so much about my life. I'm like walking around with level 1 exhaustion all the time.
Mm-hmm.
God, I don't know if I get access to this one. Sorry, now you're making me, like, on the spot think of this.
Tell you what, I have a cloak I rarely wear anymore. It looks somewhat decent. He disappears into a side room for a moment and comes back with a slightly metallic sort of satin blue cloak. It's got a little bit of a silver lining. Yeah, silver. Since you guys are a fan of moving great distances, I feel like this could be useful to you.
Well, sure, thank you.
The scroll is a gift. These two items are on loan.
Fair enough. We will be leaving Western soon, and unfortunately, I'm not sure when we'll return.
Let me just put it this way. When you figure out the big thing that's causing the problem and inevitably stop it, probably with some casualties involved, once it's done, you return the items.
Fair enough.
He hands you the cloak. Go
Thank you
ahead
very
and
much.
mark that you have a Cloak of the Mountebank in your inventory.
Sweet.
There's some fancy AF cloak now.
That is a fancy cloak. That's gonna look nice.
What's a couple social RP sessions without just getting some random items? So there you go.
I feel like though when you get them, you start thinking about like, this is like when you're going through the dungeon and suddenly
Mhm.
there's like a stash of
We're at a
potions.
save point.
Yeah,
There's a
this is
save
You're like-
point.
Yeah.
There's
This
there's
is-
like a random cellar down to up weapon.
if
Yeah,
this was Borderlands, this is where the vending machines would be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
uh-huh.
If
And
this were
it's like-
Final Fantasy X, this is Besaid Island.
Mhm.
Everything's nice and calm and beautiful.
Wonderful.
You're just before the
Sanctuary.
boss fights in Hades. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You take a step, the music changes.
Yeah, I
You
was
take a
just
step back, the music, but you're like, oh
No.
You take a
no.
step and
Literal-
it auto saves, and you're like, no,
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
no.
it autosaves and you can't go back through the door anymore.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're gonna walk out of this tower and the background music is gonna all of a sudden shift. It's gonna be like dark outside.
all the NPCs have exclamation points above their head.
Oh shit! I didn't realize that one quest unlocked all these quest
Sweat
trees.
suit.
I need 10 wealth pelts. I need 3 candles. Get them yourself. Anyway.
Yeah.
Can you go farm? No, I can't fucking farm. The world is ending.
Do I
Or
look like
it's
a farmer? I'm wearing 10 different kinds of armor on my person that do not match at all. They're different colors, and I have a sword on my back. What about this tells you farmer?
You're
Draw
playing
your
a Blizzard.
Chickens
sword.
got out. Get
Yeah.
him back for me.
Or you're playing a Blizzard game and you finally get sent on the poop quest because there's a poop quest in every expansion.
Yep.
Like, okay,
Oh,
cool.
Blizzard.
We're doing that now.
It just
That's
goes
what we
from
did.
serious to stupid in such quick
Yeah.
bursts. Anyway.
We
That's
don't play
cool.
video games, not at all.
No, not at all.
So much nerds? No.
Eskel says, well, if there's nothing else, I'd like to start researching.
Of course, we'll get out of your hair. Thank you again for your
Thank you.
time and assistance.
It's like a very sarcastic bow motion and his gestures towards the door. Reginald, leave them out. And you see the sheep has returned, looking as dapper as ever. Right this way, please. You see he leads down the spiral staircase. Actually, no. He opens the door, and it leads directly out of the tower. It skips that whole front room.
Before
actually-
stepping through the door, Thurston goes, Reginald, who was it? May I
Mm.
ask, who is your tailor?
Oh, I made this myself.
That's fantastic.
I know.
Just, just wanted to compliment. Good clothes are good clothes.
Mm-hmm.
Have a wonderful day.
You as well. And he says that like as the door is already closing, so you hear like well as it's like 90% closed.
Did he totally keep Arthea's journal pages?
No,
No,
he
he
gave
had
them
her
back.
back.
Bring him back.
Okay.
He gave them
I
back.
was like, did I miss that? Yes.
It's fine. She has to move to the new journal soon anyway.
All right. You all reconvene at the Mallard Estate. And that's what we're going to call tonight's session.
I will say that
Yay.
I'm sure that Faraday and I picked up the thing on the way back, and if he had charcoal, Cadriel would have got
Oh,
it.
shit.
So
Uh,
Arthea could do her thing.
We do that super, super quick. Night has fallen, but you do venture back, and you still hear the sound of hammer on where did it go?
As we're killing time, like walking around waiting for this to like be done, Faraday has been bitching about missing this party at Quincy's. Like full on like the solemn moment about like confiding in one another has passed, and she's just like, oh, I didn't tell you about this thing we were gonna do, and now I gotta fucking miss it, and
And
Just
Cadriel's
a
like, well,
little
when is
angry
it?
with
Maybe
it.
we could. We're not going till tomorrow.
no, it's the well, I don't know when the first of the month is. Sam doesn't know, but it's the first
It
of the
would
month.
be tomorrow.
Fuck, we can't wait. End of the world. It's really not that important.
Listen, you travel
Totally
with somebody.
recognize that tone.
It's really like
It's not important.
it's not important. It's the end of the world or this.
What if we have Dermot throw another party at Marin's when we get to Whitestone?
I
Dermot's ears
saw that
perk
face.
out.
Yeah, Dermot's
It's
like,
like,
what?
Swear to
Who
God, if you
keeps
have to
talking about me?
repeat a goddamn party again. So close to the last one.
Yeah. There was just gonna be some. It was high profile guests. I thought it could be interesting to see, but
Um,
no. And it was
How
gonna
about-
be for fighting ring. And she just like
Yeah,
continues on bitching about it.
about that, Vasselheim, tag team next time?
Absolutely.
I won't know it hit him.
Not at all.
We go and then I assume we get to the blacksmith right around then.
You
To
approach just as you turn the corner and you see he's hammering out the last little deformities in the brass that makes the small fire pit or whatever you want to call it. Goes, oh, good timing. This I kind of had to eyeball the dimensions, but
Faraday holds up
great.
her arms like, yeah, that's
you got a lot more cheerful the last time I saw you. I think
Uh.
what's happening with your hair. That looks cool.
Thanks.
You wouldn't happen to have about 10 gold worth of charcoal that I could purchase as well, would you? If it's an inconvenience, I understand. It's
no.
just
No, it's fine. Let me go grab. And
thanks.
he, as he makes his way like inside the forge itself, you see he picks up a big burlap sack. It's gone for a good couple minutes, but he comes back out. Big old burlap sack full of charcoal. And he sets it down. I'll say it's a package deal.
Thank you. And I'll give him an extra gold because he did I already paid him for the thing, but I'll give him an extra gold because he did it fast for it. Well, we appreciate very much.
Yeah,
This
just go do-
our colleague will be very happy to get this.
yeah, just go do good. You don't gotta tip me. It's fine. I'll manage.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Let me haul this fucking thing back across Western.
I'm
Some
telling you.
charcoal.
It helps if you bring a cart. Probably just load it up.
Yeah, it's more that it would have been less convenient to go back and come back, and it's a lot of back and forth.
I understand. Well, wherever you're going, just be safe.
We'll try.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Take care.
Now Arthea can do her spell.
Yes.
And that's where we'll end tonight's session.
Yay.
Yay! Love RP sessions. They're awesome. They're so much
Yay.
fun. 'Cause I get to just improv and vibe off with you guys. It's so much fun. But yeah, so to everybody who tuned in, thank you so much. We love you very much. Be nice to each other. And as per usual, next time we will see streams and whatnot. I mean, you should know our schedule at this point.
We
But-
will not have a co-op Sunday this week or next. This week, yes. This week, no. Maybe next week, but not the week after.
Sounds good. Well, we love you very much. Be nice to each other. And we'll see you guys later.
Bye, guys.
Bye.